As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
If your tooling isn't quite ready and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low volume production, three-dimensional services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. Three-dimensional services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
Menards is the Midwest's ultimate home improvement store. Family owned since 1958, Menards is the one-stop shop where you always save big money. Get the Midwest's best selection nationwide when you shop online at menards.com. We make it easy to complete your projects around the house, big or small. From hardware to plumbing or paint to appliances, we carry it all. Visit menards.com today to save big money at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
And a warm welcome to the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. It's round 3 of the 2022 championship, and we're at Road Atlanta looking forward to another cracking TA2 race. And I'm delighted to welcome on board Ray Everingham. And we really can't compare the track we raced at last week in Charlotte compared to this.
No, great point, Jonathan. And not only Charlotte, but Sebring as well. You got to remember those surfaces were flat. And at Charlotte, you drove up into the banking. Here at Road Atlanta, a lot of elevation changes. You can see in those S's behind us, they're coming downhill into some wine spots, up over the hill. Going to really have to drive by memory. Got to hit those marks. Coming out from under the bridge, down the hill, very fast, one mistake, and you end up in the tire wall.
Definitely obvious overtaking here at Road Atlanta, but what does it take, you've raced around here, to set up a Trans Am car around here?
Well, again, much different from the tracks that we ran at last week. The spring platform's very important. You'll see shocks being adjusted per driver, but braking's going to be key here. And these TA2 cars, you know, they've got different brake packages that you can choose from, but the guy who uses the brakes really well, getting into turn 1 and getting into 10A is where I expect to see the passing.
Thanks, Ray. Yes, we'll be hearing from Ray throughout the weekend, but now let's hear from our current championship leader, Rafa Matos. He's down in the pits with our man, Ben Sissel.
Thanks, gentlemen. I am here with our current champion and points leader, Rafa Matos. Rafa, what's your strategy to stay points leader in such a competitive field?
You know, Ben, every season has been more competitive since I started racing here in Trans Am, and this year is no different. You know, in order to win this championship, we have to finish every race. We cannot afford DNFs, and you know, every race is a different challenge. I have the luxury here. I have very fast teammates, and luckily they will be stealing some points from the competition, but we have to make sure that the car is working perfectly mechanically, nothing breaks, and we got to finish race. If we get a podium or a second or a win, it's a big bonus for us, but we got to keep finishing.
Yes, hello and a warm welcome to Road Atlanta. It's a beautiful day here at Braselton in Georgia, the home, of course, of Road Atlanta, and it has been that way since the 70s, and it's a lovely circuit, of home, of course, of Petit Le Mans, and today, Trans Am TA2 as they line up pre-grid, and I'm delighted to welcome NASCAR Hall of Famer Ray Everingham to the commentary booth. And Ray, I'm really interested in getting your insight on this. You've raced Trans Am a little bit, and you've raced here too, so you know the track, but I think your eye on this has been somebody who's been around NASCAR and many other sports. You run the SRX Championship as well last year, and I'm just really interested to get your take on current day Trans Am.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I am very, very impressed with the TA2 series because it's done a couple things. It's taken racing back to driver controls.
Yep.
These cars primarily, I tell everybody they're easy to drive but hard to drive fast, and it's really about driver input. There's no traction control, no ABS. The motors do have rev limiters, but these cars are designed on driver skill, and that's what the people want to see. We see these very talented young drivers, and then we see some journeymen, really doing a great job with these things. A lot of horsepower, no downforce, skinny tire, and then the ability to run side by side. A little bit of rubbing, too.
It's interesting. You talk about some journeymen. I love Boris said the fact that he retired ages ago. He's done every form of sports car racing, NASCAR, you name it, and yet he loves coming to Trans Am, and his comments always, well, if Poncho Weaver wants to make me a car, I'll race it.
Well, when you come to an historical place like this, when you think about the people that have raced here in the Can-Am and Trans Am, and the names like Fulmer and Jones and Donahue and Gurney, and then here we are about to watch 42 cars. So this TA2 series is growing and growing and becoming one of the most popular series in America and a great training ground. We're seeing some manufacturers sneak in with some of these young guns to get them some experience to see where they measure up to where they want to send them, whether that's to NASCAR or IndyCar. Our Trans Am champion, former Trans Am champion, Ernie Francis, driving for Roger Penske right now, headed to Indianapolis. And there are several key prospects for future NASCAR drives in that garage area right now.
No question about it. We're going to be spending a lot of the day talking about those young guns. But talking about young guns, let's talk to our young gun, of course, the man down on the pit with Tony Garcia. And that, of course, is Ben Sissel. Down to you, Ben.
Thank you, gentlemen. I know that you said it's a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day here at Road Atlanta, but it is cold. It is very windy. People are losing their hats as we sign autographs. Roberto Sabato has had kids in his car with this fan walk. Roberto, TA2 is known for some of the best starts in motor racing, and unfortunately, you seem to have the best seat in the house for that start, starting 42nd in a group of 42. How does that feel?
Well, I have to tell you, I'm happy to be starting at all because I got bumped under a black flag, almost went into the wall. So the fact that I'm here is a testament to our crew, and I'm happy to be here even if it's 42.
I love it. Roberto Sabato, thank you to his crew. Roberto, good luck out there. Then we come right here to Jim Gallagher with the Waypoint car. I'm going to try to walk through this whole group here. Beautiful Mike Cope TA2 race car. Tim Gray with Ryan. His son is also in this race with us. So we've got father-son here. Then we go here to Gene Siegel. Where is Gene Siegel? Looking for him, but Tony, if you'll come over here, get a shot of this. He was racing in solidarity from Ukraine. Gene Siegel, right here he comes, right here. Gene, how you doing, buddy? So good to have you back. Pleasure. I know that you had to miss Charlotte. I know it's been a lot of work since Sebring. How's it feel to be back?
Actually, it feels great. We got the car back together, so we're using this as our practice session in the car and shaking everything down. We're back at it.
Nice. I love it. That's the Ukrainian spirit, right? Never give up. I love it. Gene, thank you so much. Danny Lowry here with Bridge Hull. Danny Lowry is going to be a busy man. Now, wait, hold on, man. You forgot your pen, your Sharpie. You got to go get more autographs. I love it. Danny Lowry out here, Bridge Hull. You're racing in the GT classes with Trans Am. You've got some cars in the Vintage Series, and it seems like you're on every sixth car in this field. How's that feel?
That feels pretty good. We're glad to be here with Trans Am.
So explain Bridge Hull and everything that you're doing.
Sure. Bridge Hull's a digital freight platform. It's really an IT company for trucking.
Nice. I love it. Well, there's Danny Lowry. TA2 Danny, thank you. Matt Gray. I know this is the funny thing. We were talking about father-son out there. Does it feel good to be ahead here?
Yes, it does.
That's kind of rare.
Yes, it is. And hopefully I can have a much better race than I did at Sebring.
Nice. I love it. Matt, thank you for coming out. Good luck. Patrick Paul right here in the number 34. Patrick Paul was with us at Sebring. Patrick, come over here, man. Welcome back. Good to see you. I love having you here. How does it feel to be here at Road Atlanta?
It's great. It's a hometown track. We feel like we're pretty quick here. Got a few places to make up, and starting position, but it should be really, really, really good.
Nice. I love it. Patrick Paul, Mike Attaway, but I got to come over here to Mark Austin from Austin, Texas. Where are these deck of cards? So if you're listening to me, he's got his own deck of cards there. If you look at the livery, the paint scheme on his car, you got to show off your helmet. Get a shot of this helmet. Who was painted by the legend. Tell us a little about your paint scheme and about the helmet.
So the paint scheme designed by Jesse James on my helmet. They painted my helmet. The top painter in his shop did it. It's amazing work, and we just decided we liked it so much we made the car look like it this year, and people seem to love it.
People do love it. This is one of the sharpest cars in the field. He's giving away Joker deck of cards. Make sure you come see Mark Austin. As I go to Bruce Raymond running in the Pro-Am section for Optima batteries. Bruce, you got to get a shot of the headlights too, Tony. His wife designed those, the snake eyes. How's it feel to be back at Road Atlanta?
We love Road Atlanta. We wish we qualified a little bit better, but we're going to take Optima hopefully to the front.
I love it. I love it. Now, I know that you're auto truck repair Raymond's. You're kind of legendary in the auto body side. How tough was it to prepare your car for this race?
This one is pretty good because we had a distance. We skipped Charlotte, and then we made the run back up here, so we had a little time to do it. But that back-to-back like we did last year is difficult.
Nice. I love it. Good luck, Bruce. Bruce Raymond, Ty Young. We come to Ty Young. Ty Young, you had an off early on at the Charlotte Roval. Looks like Mike Cope worked for about a week to get you back here. How's it feel?
They did a great job putting the Ty J. Young Wealth Management Investment with Traction, Mike Cope, Ford Mustang back together. Worked all week, did a great job. The car's fantastic. The only problem is the driver.
Nice. I love it. A little self-deprecation, man. Ty Young, there we go. Doug Winston, I got to talk about him. He's you can keep signing autographs, but get a shot of his hood. Bring back the trades. We talked a lot about that yesterday. That's the nonprofit you're working for. Tell everybody why they need to get involved in the trades.
Bring Back the Trades is a great group. Give scholarships to kids that want to go to trade school instead of college. The whole idea here is to just deliver the mission that you do not need a college degree to have a great career. There's advancement. Half of the people in this paddock are here because they made their wealth in some blue-collar field or trade, and we're able to escalate it, become the owner of a business, and you have unlimited ability for escalation. Whether it be your own boss, or whether you stay as a tradesman, or somewhere in between, there's always a place for you in the trades. Most of our successful people came out of the field, became estimators, project managers, project executives. Some of them became presidents of the company. So that's the whole message we're going to get out here and let these kids know that, you know what, don't let anybody kid you and tell you got to spend a lot of money to go to college. And if you're interested in going to trade school, take a look at bringbackthetrades.com, and they can apply for a scholarship. They give one out every month. And Timberland Pro also gives out to all the winners of wardrobe to get you started in the trades.
Nice. I love it. Doug Winston. Bringbackthetrades.com. Stephen Lustig, my deadhead. Got a deadhead sticker. It's not a Cadillac, but how's it feel to be out here TA2?
It feels great. I haven't been out here since 2019. Really excited to be back. This track seems to have had my number. Hopefully turn that around today, but always great to be out here with the Trans Am Series.
Great. Awesome. Steve Lustig. I've got to get down here being told we've got Ricky Sanders right here in TA2. Aaron Pierce, beautiful new car for this year. We go down here to Ironman Tom Sheehan, LTK Insulation Technologies. Tom has run more TA2 races than probably anybody on the planet. Tom, how's it feel?
It's not the stat that I'd like to be known for the most, but yeah, so we've run a lot of races with the series, and looking forward to getting out there today, having a good run for the team. A couple rough weekends in a row, but this is racing, so we got some work to do today.
Nice. All right, well then we'll change that to the best beard in the series. Is that the stat that you want? Maybe. There we go. Maurice Hall signing autographs here at the Fan Walk. Check that out. Love it. So great to have Maurice back with us. Jeff Sexton here, Horse Soldier Bourbon Whiskey. There's a huge bottle here in our paddock. How's it feel to be with us at Road Atlanta and TA2?
Feels amazing. It's my first time here. Struggling a little bit. I'm looking to move forward today, but yeah, super happy to be here. Thank you, Horse Soldier Bourbon, Stevens Miller Racing. Great guys, ready to get going.
Nice. I love it. Jeff Sexton, Horse Soldier. Elias Anderson is back with us, was just with us a few days ago at the Charlotte Roval. Barry Bowes right here. We're going to talk to Michelle Abadi right here with the beautiful Ghost BC Race Cars number 30. Michelle, how does it feel back at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta?
You know, I love this track. I haven't been to a lot of the tracks on the east here, but this one right now is absolutely my favorite one. And the Ghost Energy number 30 car has been kicking butt, and I'm super happy to be sitting here in P22.
Nice. I love it. Michelle, thank you so much. Keith Prochuk, you're not by your car, buddy, but Keith Prochuk from the Windy City, you brought Chicago weather with you. It's windy and cold here as we come to Rhett Barco in this beautiful Dodge Challenger. Rhett, how does it feel?
It feels very good. I mean, I'm feeling good about today, even though we're starting back. We had a little bit of a rough weekend, but we have some really good straightaway speed, and we got some people in front of us that we can potentially pass. We just got to keep the car clean. But we have a great Berryman, MPEC Napa, and BarcoCars.com Dodge Challenger today, so it should be a great finish.
Nice. I love it. Rhett Barco, thank you very much. Coming here to Darren Mock. Now, Darren, we were in meetings. Ray Evernham's up in the booth, and he said, hey, you guys are aware that Darren Mock comes from NASCAR royalty, right? Can you explain to everybody who your dad is and where you come from?
Yeah, so my dad's Butch Mock, and he owned a Cup team for 23-plus years and was a driver. So he's definitely got deep racing roots, so it's cool to have a guy like him around and kind of lean on him for setups and driving and just what I need to be doing in and out of the race car for sure.
Perfect. Darren Mock, good luck out there. Darren Mock, great road racer. Doug Peterson right here, Three-Dimensional Services Group. We've got Scott Borchetta coming into the car right now. Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. About to go into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers, turn 1. Cameron Lawrence, you're back here. I know that your team has been struggling all year with this car. I'm not used to seeing Cameron Lawrence this far back. How's it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel good for sure, but the guys have been working really hard. I mean, we have a great team. We've got a good car. We're just working on the speed a little bit. So, you know, super thankful for Ken and Franklin Road. I mean, it's great having them all around the track, seeing their signage everywhere. Having him drive and own the team is really cool. So it's been a lot of fun, but obviously we're struggling a little bit. So we're working hard to get a point in the right direction, but we'll make up some spots.
Nice. I love it. Cameron Lawrence, good luck. Where's Evan Pecor? Where's Evan? Evan, let's get by your car because this was... You kind of came out of nowhere here last year with us, and I had to come find you, I remember, at Road America, and like, who in the world are you? So, for those that don't know, who are you?
I'm Racer X, according to Ben on the Mid-Ohio broadcast, but my name's Evan. We're just out here having fun, limited budget, doing what we can. We're running 3, maybe 4 races a year. Road Atlanta's been a bucket list track for us, so we're out here seeing what we can do. It's our first time here. Absolute roller coaster of a track. It's great running with Trans Am, all these great racers. We're having fun.
Nice. I love it. Evan, good luck out there. Welcome back. And then speaking of welcome back, the Bender family, legends in Trans Am, but this is your first race in TA2, is that correct?
Yeah, most definitely. It's fun to be back here. You know, my dad raced Trans Am, late 80s, early 90s, under the Pace American Trailers banner. But yeah, been racing for 10, 15 years now, and we're finally back in Trans Am. I'm thrilled.
Nice. Well, welcome back. So excited to have you guys back. How cool is that? Adrian Lostovsky over here. Ken Twaits is over here trying to get secrets from Adrian. Adrian, how's it feel at Road Atlanta?
We love it. Definitely a track that we like a lot, and we're freezing right now. We're just trying to stay warm. It's going to be the first race I'm not running a cool shirt in, but we definitely have speed. We definitely have a little bit left from qualifying, so we definitely feel good for moving up in the field today.
Nice. A man from New York is complaining about the weather here in Atlanta. As I come talk to Dylan Archer. Dylan really moving up, the newest Howe chassis in the field. And you just missed the top 10, and you were so disappointed yesterday. That's just how competitive TA2 is.
Yeah, it's super close out here, and it's exciting to be back. I'm learning a bunch of my first time here. I think we got a lot of progress to make. We got a good car, and I'm ready to move forward.
Nice. I love it. Dylan Archer, FPEC, Food Processing Equipment Company. There's Alan Davison right there. Evan Slater, another one of our young guns. Man, you were having such a great run just a week ago at Charlotte. Little bit of bad luck. What's your strategy here?
I mean, yeah, it's a very technical track, so there's going to be a lot more passing opportunities in Charlotte, so we're just going to try and keep it clean. It's a long race on an amazing track, so hopefully we can get a good finish for Cube 3 Architecture and Stevens Miller Racing.
Nice. I love it. One of the things I love about TA2 are these drivers kind of come out of nowhere. We have a new driver, Sammy Smith, brand new in the series, first time road racing, Road Atlanta. How do you explain Road Atlanta?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, tough track, a lot of good competition out here, and hopefully we can just have a clean race and have a solid run.
Nice. Well, good luck out there, man. Unbelievable. First time in a road course, and you're in the top 10. Unbelievable. Adam Andretti on his birthday weekend, signing autographs as it should be. Hey, man, happy birthday. How's it feel to be back at Road Atlanta?
Oh, it's great to be back here at Road Atlanta. Last year, the weather was not so good. It was a lot of rain, and this weekend the weather's been absolutely glorious, honestly. Looking at it, it's a little windy and a little bit chilly, but the fans have come out. Such a huge thank you to the fans, and we're proud, right? Peterson Racing, Three-Dimensional Services Group, got a lot of presence up here, so we're going to have ourselves a good 100 miles here.
Nice. Good 100 miles here. Adam Andretti, Three-Dimensional Services Group. We were talking about Tyler Kicera with Liqui Moly, won the last race of the Charlotte Roval. Misha Goikberg talking to Thomas Merrill, so stick around. Misha, this is the first time I remember that you've committed to the whole season running for a championship. How does that feel?
It feels great, obviously. It gives us and the team the ability to build on consistency, build some momentum, learn more about each track we go to, and get really sharp in everything how we run the weekends.
Nice. I love it. Misha, good luck out there. Oh, handshake, huh? The old-fashioned way. I love it. Thomas Merrill right here talking to Brent Cruz. Hey, Brent, get in here. Jump in here, Brent. So, Thomas, I know you've had a third-place finish here. You like Road Atlanta?
I love Road Atlanta. Yeah, it's one of my favorite racetracks. Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to one of the young guns about Road Atlanta?
I don't know about this young gun. He's starting in front of me, so I'm not sure how much I would tell him, but I think this is going to be an interesting race in the long run. I hope we get a lot of green flag racing because our Bridge Hall HP Tuners Mustang is really good on a long run, and that's kind of what we've planned for. But we may get a lot of yellows, so that might be a challenge here. With the cold temperatures, it's going to be all about tire temperature, brake temperature, but we just got to be there at the end.
Nice. And Brent Cruz, youngest in the field and the oldest Cope car in the field. That's quite a combination. I saw your team working under it, doing some welding last night. How's Road Atlanta treating you so far?
It's treating us good so far speed-wise. We had a little bit of issue in qualifying. We went our best lap, and then I hit a curb a little bit too hard and had something wrong with the chassis, but we got a good lap down, thankfully, and we should have a really fast race car.
Nice. Those curbs can jump out at you. They're quite treacherous here. Brent Cruz, good luck with Nitro Motorsports. We've got our champ there, Rafa Matos, talking to his team. I'm not going to interrupt that. We're going to go over here. How about Connor Zilich? Let's talk to Connor Zilich. Connor, how does it feel? And Mike Skeen, because Mike Skeen, jump in here too. I got a special story with them. Mike Skeen, when I met Connor at VIR, you were his instructor. He said, well, I know Mike Skeen. He was my instructor. So how does it feel now to be starting with your student right behind you?
Yeah, it's good. Awesome job. Obviously he's super quick. He's been fast in a lot of series this year, and finally getting to start up front where he should be. So, yeah, hopefully we can hold him off and he can finish P2 behind us.
So is the student going to become the master at the start of this race?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically my first time starting up here, especially this year. So it's going to be something new to me. So I'm going to have to take it in as a learning experience and hopefully come away at the front.
Nice. I love it. Mike Skeen, welcome back. Connor, good job. See you guys out there at the green flag. We're going to come up here and talk to Connor Mosack. Where's Connor Mosack? Live to everybody. 2 poles in a row. The Motul Pole Award winner. How does it feel? I know you like Road Atlanta. Green flag drops, the wind is going with you. What's your strategy into treacherous turn 1?
Yeah, our car feels great. My guys at Scott Legacy Racing have been working really hard on this thing, and obviously we got a good car, so hopefully we just keep it clean through turn 1 and get single file and drive away.
Nice. I love it. Connor Mosack, good luck out there. HPU, High Point University. But I'm coming over here right now to the front of the grid to talk to my friend who keeps us all grounded mentally and spiritually, Marvin Gray, the Trans Am pastor. Take it away, buddy.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to be here in the beauty of your creation. Lord, we ask your special protection on each and every one who is a part of the event today, from the organizers, the track officials, the crew, the drivers, the workers, all, and thank you for the fans who come out to cheer us on. Lord, we pray your special protection on our troops and safety forces as they protect us. We pray you be with our family and friends that can't be with us. And Lord, we pray for an end to the fight in Ukraine, to the war. Let you bring peace and be with those refugees who need shelter. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Marvin. Unbelievable. Marvin, it's so great to have you out here. I love it. All right. And then for our national anthem, we have a live singer, Elena Ewis. Welcome. Take it away.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Absolutely beautiful, Elena. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming out. Wow. Jonathan and Ray, I'm going to send it back to you guys. I don't know what to add to that. Take it away, boys.
Great stuff as always, Ben. Really great to hear some insight into all of our drivers. So many of them young. We were talking about that, Ray, earlier, about just how many young guys are out there. And this is exciting. I mean, like I said, you've been away from Trans Am for a while, but I think you're excited to see what these guys and such a large field can do.
Oh, absolutely. This is a very, very competitive racetrack. These are competitive race cars, and you've got a good mix of people in there. You've got guys that are really trying to draw some attention to their careers, and then you've got guys that are going to get a championship. And we've got a really fast young lady in there as well representing. So we're about to start this race with some unknowns. It is cold, it is windy, and we'll see what happens.
All right, let's take a look at the grid then. Connor Mosack in pole position with a 122.373. Mike Skeen alongside him. Then Zilic and Rafa Matos. What a combination of youth and experience. Cruz and Merrill. Goikberg and Kicera, 7th and 8th. Adam Andretti starts 9th. Sam Smith alongside him, his first race. Then it's Slater, Archer, Lostowski, Bender, Pecor, and Cameron Lawrence down in 16th position in the Franklin Road Apparel car. Then Scott Borchetta, Doug Peterson, Mock, Baku, Prochuk in 21st, Michelle Abati, who you mentioned there, 22nd, Barry Bowes and Elias Anderson, the Allegiance from Texas, 23rd and 24th. Then Sexton, Morris Hull, 25th and 26th, Sheehan and Pierce, Sanders, Lustig, Winston, Ty Young in 32nd place. And then a little further down, Bruce Raymond, Austin, Attaway, Paul, Gray, Lowry, Segal, Gray, and that's Tim Gray, Jim Gallagher, Roberto Sabato, and Kurt Voigt in 43rd place.
That was a mouthful. Are you about out of breath? That's a lot of cars.
That just shows you
how healthy this series is.
Really is, no question about it. We're going to hear from also Wally Dollenbach Jr., who's racing this weekend, just joining us. He'll tell us about what he's up to in a moment, but we are about to head down to get our start command. It's a beautiful day here, and as you've heard, it's chilly and breezy out there. And we're going to talk to both the men alongside me about that, because the breeze here at Road Atlanta could play a part here on those long straights. We'll be on board with Barry Bowes in the 32, the ASIO data car. And these are all live shots that we'll be bringing you: throttle, brakes, RPM, and overall speed. Plus, on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see exactly where they are on track. Evan Slater, the youngster in the 35, Cube 3 architecture, spoke to his sponsor earlier in the weekend, delighted with his progress despite that off last time out at Charlotte. And as you can see, we are getting ready to go. There's not really been too many incidents in TA2. The one worry after practice was the amount of traffic, and that is going to be a factor. If you can imagine 44 cars on a track like this, yes, there's more places to overtake than perhaps Charlotte, but it's still going to be tricky. Let's head back down to Ben Sissel.
We have a very special presentation here. Brian Gluck, who number 47, going to be racing with us tomorrow in SGT. You reached out and you says you have a special presentation for us.
I do. What I've got is a flag that we flew on our aircraft during the War on Terror on September 11th, 2020, on one of the last missions in Afghanistan. And I'd like to present that to John and all the Trans Am guys for all their support for veterans. They've just been great to us. And fly it, and thank you very much. Proud to take. And drivers, start your engines.
And with that beautiful sound, I'd like to introduce one of the legends of our sport, Wally Dollenbach Jr., who's also still racing. He'll be out there, we hope, anyway, later today. But first of all, Wally, your take. We've heard from Ray. You know, it's been a while since you've been around Trans Am for a weekend like this to see TA2 and get up in the booth. What's your take?
You know, I've been watching TA2 grow over the years, and just to see the car counts this year has been amazing. And like you guys touched on, you know, the mix between the veterans out there and the younger guys out there, you got a lot of young talent in this series right now. It's really kind of cool to watch. Very, very competitive series. This is going to be an interesting race because there's really only 2 or 3 spots on here that are really good passing zones. There's a lot of places you can pass, but you know, you've got to be committed. So it's going to be interesting to see how the youth and the veterans get along on some of that.
And Ray, you used to look after a youngster called Jeff Gordon. I think he did pretty well over his years. But I mean, NASCAR, and no joking aside, NASCAR truly is looking at these youngsters now. And there'll be people like you in your position back then that are now looking at these guys and saying, I want that guy in my team.
100%. And you know, as Wally knows, these cars are difficult to drive fast. You know, we talked about they're easy to drive, but difficult to drive fast. Narrow tires, lots of horsepower, and when you've got a guy that's always up in the front or consistently in the front, you know, he's shifting, he's braking, and you know, this is a difficult. You and I have both discussed a little while ago that, hey, maybe not our cup of tea. We're used to big motors and wide tires. If you can drive one of these cars quickly, you should be able to drive a NASCAR Xfinity or Cup car pretty fast.
You're right, and you know, Ray and I were talking about earlier. It's kind of like I've driven the TA2 cars and just not my cup of tea because I'm used to the bigger tires, more horsepower. My driving style fits that. And when you get in the TA2 car, they do handle. They're good handling cars, but it's a really momentum-based car, I think. These guys carry so much speed through the corners, and there is definitely a knack to going fast on one of these cars.
And a great car to teach some of these young guys really the art of racing that will help them throughout their career.
Yeah. I mean, you can, if you do well in one of these cars, like Ray said, you could jump in a Cup car or anything. I mean, it is a great place to start and cut your teeth and get those skills honed.
Well, guys, as you can see, we've been slotting through the onboards. We pretty much have every angle covered from front of the pack to the mid pack here with Barry Bowes. in the ASIO data car, all of these live pictures, so I want you to jump in as drivers whenever you see something, because your eye is so much more acute than mine in terms of watching what you see. There's my buddy Adam Andretti, and we're going to see if we can, I've got his radio, I'll see if I can get a chat with him. If you've got something to ask him, if we get hold of him. He's a long way back down the back of the grid, so maybe we may not get him first of all, but we'll try him now. Adam Andretti, this is Jonathan Green in the commentary booth. How you doing, buddy? Oh, we're tiddly-boo. We're watching how breezy it is and how cool it is out there. How are the engines and how is the wind going to affect you?
Well, Johnny, I tell you, I think what's going to go on here is there's a heck of a tailwind getting into one, so that's going to be tricky on the first lap. And, we're really working hard, as you can see us right now, on this stage lap, trying to get the temperature into these tires, into these Pirelli tires, so that we can have a good clean start here for our TA2 Race.
Well, no pressure, birthday boy, but I've got Wally Dollenbach Jr. and Ray Everingham watching you and racing today, so no pressure, we want a podium. Drive like Andretti, buddy.
Great stuff there. Great stuff from Mexico. And Wally, I'm sitting here noticing it as well. I think a really smart move with the Trans Am people picking up the pace here to help these guys. Let them have a lap single. We're doing 2 pace laps. They'll get over in turn 9 an idea if we're going green. But letting them have a little extra speed on these pace laps to get some heat into the tires. A little bit of a cold morning.
I'll tell you what, the Pirellis, on the TA cars, it took 2 laps to get any temperature in them. So definitely a good move here because we struggled with our tires, and I know these guys are doing the same.
I got a question for both of you. This morning I saw guys putting holes in some of the front of the car, and I talked to Mark Miller about this, and he said, the temperature was so low, they were worried about getting heat into the engine. That's something I'd not even thought about. Is that?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you that there's an optimum operating temperature, obviously, for every engine to make the most critical horsepower. You get above that, you'll take horsepower away. But if you can't get it, if it's really too cold, it takes horsepower away as well. And I'm going to tell you, these cars are so close horsepower-wise that if you don't want to give up 10 horsepower with a temperature deal.
Wally, I'm going to put you in the hot seat here. If you were in the first 2 rows, how do you play Road Atlanta? They're coming down, the pace car should come off at the top of 10, and then it's hell-bent for leather, isn't it?
The problem is you always, before a race, you try to figure out what you're going to do. It doesn't matter what you plan. You just have to react what happens when that green flag drops. So, I think a lot of these guys, the most important thing is to just, take it easy. You got a lot of cars that are going through 1 all the way to 6. Get filed out, get settled, and then start picking them off 1 by 1. Don't force it right now because the tires are still going to be a little bit cold.
Here we go then. The pace car comes off and we are ready to go. Trans Am TA2 Racing here at Road Atlanta, led by Connor Mosack, who is pole again for the 2nd week in a row, but he doesn't get the start he wants. In fact, he's under pressure already from 2 of the 3-dimensional surfaces cars.
He got a lot of wheel spin on the start with those cold tires, so that's what we're just talking about.
On board with Lostowski. God, that's a mess in there. I wouldn't want to be facing that right.
No, and again, the good news is the fiberglass on these cars is a little bit flexible, and there were a lot of flexing fiberglass going up through there. Now they're starting to make a run hill down through the S's here. The tires are starting to get a little bit warmer as they get up and head down the backstretch. I want to see what kind of speed we see on this first lap.
Mike Skeen, an absolute specialist round here, chasing the young 23-year-old who's got his sights set on NASCAR. Mike Skeen, one of the most experienced and former champions out there. If Mike can't get it done, who can? Into 7. Critical corner coming up is 8. Wally, you've got to get out of here well.
Yeah, you've got, this is it's not a very fast corner, but it's real important to get through the middle and get the power down. You want to try to avoid any wheel spin whatsoever, because if you get wheel spin off that corner, it's going to hurt you down here in the other end of the backstretch.
Now, really important going down into 10A, Wally. You can run a little bit later in there because as the weight from going down that hill where it flattens, that actually puts more weight on the car, right?
Exactly. When you get down over that hill, it actually plants the car and it pushes the car into the racetrack, and you can get a really good braking zone in there. So if you set a guy up just right and you get down in there, you can outbrake him.
Big story so far, Connor Zilic getting ahead of Rafa Matos, our current championship leader, and of course our current champion. We go on board with Adam Andretti. Adam had a great run at Charlotte last week. He beat Rafa, and that's a rarity. Ooh, big bump over the rumble strips there, and that could upset the body as he go down the S's, but it's over 100 miles an hour. That's what took my breath away watching practice today.
Adam's car looks really good, and I mean, it just looks like he's just looking for a place to set him up. And he's going to start picking these guys off one by one because Adam's been doing this a long time. It looks like he's taking care of his car. So he's just biding his time right now. Yeah, and he's following Tyler Kicera, who won last week's race. Tyler looked really good, and he is a really true homegrown story coming up through Miata, then sim racing with Trans Am, and his first time in a Trans Am car, he was right at the sharp end at VIR, and he's never looked back, and Tyler Kicera definitely won as a contender for the championship. Lovely drone shots, shows you how the field spreads out, but it's important to get it right. This is the best overtaking coming down here into 10.
I think these guys have found their spot, they found their position, they got their stuff warming up, but now it's about pace, right, Wally? Yeah. They're going to run their pace, and as we see them closing up, then they're going to have to find those passing spots.
Yeah. Right, I mean, what you want, they're trying to figure out, right now they're figuring out what kind of car they have. And, they got 2 laps, everything's warmed up. What they're dealing with now, handling-wise, they know what they've got. And again, you're pacing yourself. You're obviously trying to move forward, but you don't want to abuse your car doing it. So you've got a long race. You want to take care of your stuff.
On board again with Rafa Matos, and I love watching Rafa's hands when he's racing because he's so smooth. And if he starts to get a little bit out of Larry with the wheel, then there's something wrong because he's so smooth, generally speaking, and that's why he manages the tires so well. And Wally, you know this, it's 100 miles. It sounds like a long way, but we call it a sprint race. The one worry you've got is managing those tires if it's green.
There's no question about it. I mean, I did that at Sebring. You really, you want to run hard because the car feels, the best it's going to feel is right now. The tires are working good and you want to run hard. But man, you want something to deal with in the last 10 laps of the race. So there's a balance there on how hard you want to run and still taking care of your stuff and trying to make a pass on somebody.
And not just saving the tires, Wally, but with these tires, pressure makes a big. So you don't want to abuse a front or a rear because if that buildup in pressure changes, you've got to carry that for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you're stuck with it. Yeah, you're no pit stops to fix that.
Here's we on board as we come under the bridge and down to the final corner, on board with Adrian Lostowski. Boy, that's fast through there, and you're totally committed, right?
It's a fun corner. I mean, it is.
Got a spinner. Oh! So Spinner just behind Lostowski, but has righted himself back. That's a good result in the end there.
Yeah, that could have been. That's a scary. That right up there is the scariest part for me as a race car driver. Coming up over that hill is completely blind, and I mean, if there's somebody sideways, it is going to be a scary deal. So that is the worst place in the world for a guy to spin out.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I'm happy to hear you say that because when I did run the corners, I thought to myself, I am just not good enough to be going this fast over that corner and not being able to see.
There isn't a lap that goes by. I'm going, oh boy, I hope it's clear.
Well, Connor Mosack's made a good start. He's got 0.8 at the moment on Skeen, and that's no mean feat. And he's settling down, but you can see the gap visibly from Skeen. And Connor, you would argue, at 4 laps gone, is in control of this race. He's going to be happy at the moment.
And you can see these cars are not slow. A little over 160 miles an hour there before he gets on that brake pedal, drives in, and that making that left at 10A is really important to set up to get under that bridge so you don't mess up like we just talked about coming out from under it.
Back of this group, there's Archer, there's Evan Slater, another couple of our young guns. Just want to remind you, all of our young guns fighting for 22,000 thanks to the Peter Gregg Foundation, and that will be a really great opportunity for anybody from 14 to 24, and there's so many, including the man leading the race, Connor Mosack. Lap 5 then, Evan Slater goes up the hill. Ooh, little bit of loose there by the man in front of him, Slater.
I see these guys are using a lot of curb, Wally.
Yeah.
Is that something that different in this car than, let's say, the TA car with this has a splitter, this doesn't have a splitter, and they can use those curbs?
Yeah, you can run the curbs on these cars. Now, there's stay off of, like that curve right down, getting into turn 5. There's a curve there on the right, which is even big on these cars, but you can knock the curbs with these cars a little bit easier than you could with the TA cars.
Mike Skeen's just done the quickest lap of the race so far, 124.6. But when you look down all the way to Adam Andretti in 9th position, they're all in the high 124. So really, not a lot of difference between them at the moment.
No, that's, again, what's so impressive about this series. These cars are all really close. The guys that are driving them properly and driving them hard are the guys that are consistently up front.
Really impressed with this kid, Connor Mosack. A lot of people in the karting world know him. He was a world champion at that level and decided to come and do this kind of racing. Whoa. On the main straight, more drama, plenty going on as we're on board with second place Mike Skeen diving into turn 1. The Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers corner. Skeen eases through there, and he's right there as they start getting into traffic now. Mosack's got to think twice now. Wally, this is where it gets interesting as the leader.
Yeah, and it's all, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, there's no place to go right now. He's going to have to set this guy coming up out of 5. And hopefully Skeen, Skeen's going to kind of get a run on him as well. But that's a problem. When you catch a car that's slower, it's really difficult to get around.
And you've got Connor Mosack right there putting pressure on Skeen. Rafa Matos right behind him. That's closed that top 4 up. You could throw a blank over him right now.
Yeah, the irony is that's Doug Peterson, a former Trans Am champion that they're battling with at the back. And I think that's because he's got some mechanical issues. He's getting out of the way and off the line. Through goes Connor Mosack, and Mike Skeen will follow him through.
Skeen, and Skeen is one of those guys where he knows how to take care of his equipment. He always has race car at the end of the race. And, you know, you never count Mike out towards the end of these races because he always seems to do a really good job saving his tires and saving his equipment.
Driver, an incredible instructor as well. A lot of the guys in the field that Mike is having to race with are guys that he took through and taught.
Yeah.
So across the strip they come again, and we have lost Mosack from 3rd position. And that changes things as we get into some traffic. There's a little bit of damage to one of the cars coming through. That's the silver hair. Number 57, Connor Mosack, dropping back 2 places, and a little bit of body damage to that front right. And we have got a full course yellow now. Looks as though damage to the 94, who's coming straight into the pits. And that is Evan Pecor, who we heard from earlier in the day from Ben Sissel. But it all calms down a little bit now. Ray, Wally, we can catch our breath. From what you've seen so far, this High Point University, he's studying entrepreneurship. That's a good. I think if you wanted to manage him, you'd be happy. He's leading the race, and he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that'll help you in this business.
Yeah.
You need money. You need to be swift when it comes to business. On board with Barry Bowes. What do you do, Wally, when you're calming down in this stage? I mean, you know, you're catching your breath, you're rethinking it, you're probably talking to your engineer. What's the sort of systems check you do?
Well, you know, depending on where you're at in the race, okay, now you've gained up the guy, you know, a lot of space on the guy that you've been racing. The restarts are some of the best times to make moves and to pass guys. You know, personally, I don't like yellows because it breaks your rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a rhythm, you're doing your thing, and then the yellow comes out, and then you got to kind of regroup. But like I said, these guys will stack up, and this is the best opportunity to try to get a spot or 2 on a restart.
Well, let's just catch our breath and talk about some of the guys we haven't maybe mentioned yet. Scott Borchetta currently running in 14th. He's still behind Cameron Lawrence. That's where they qualified. Evan Slater just ahead of them in 12th. Sammy Smith, his first road race. He's in 11th place, and he's got ahead of Evan Slater, who started 11th. Dylan Archer just ahead of him, and then it's Andretti, who we have been on board with already. Barry Bowes, the man we're on board with right now, is currently running in 27th place. You're listening to Wally Dollenbach Jr. and Ray Everingham. I'm delighted and honored to have both of them here in the commentary booth. But Trans Am is back and running good here at Road Atlanta, as it always does. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more after this. Boys know what they're doing, don't they?
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
What's the course layout for? Do we know? Okay. 36 and 3. So, this is why we are under caution. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Adrian Lostowski out of the car in the Hawk performance car. You can see because we're on board with him, but he's out of the car. And this is turn 1. So, 2 cars involved, the 3 and the 36. Not quite sure whether they came together before or after, or one of them. That's Danny Bender. That's a real shame because Danny Bender, this is his first Trans Am race. Former racer in spec racing, but this is his first Trans Am effort, and I feel for him. And likewise, Adrian Lostowski, runner-up in SGT a couple of years ago, and the Hawk boys were looking for a big day. Sadly, though, we're under caution, and that's the reason why. So, game over, it looks like. I don't think Adrian's going anywhere, but they'll be back and back in contention, I hope, for the next round for the doubleheader in California coming up. But they'll have to drag that out. But we've got some time to talk up in the booth here with Wally Dollenbach Jr. and Ray Everingham, and we're looking down on this very famous circuit to the S's, as they are called. And I definitely want to ask Ray a question. There's the one guy out there, and it's this man, number 48, Scott Borchetta. He told me, he wrote me a note, and he's lovely. He always sends me an email. Wrote me a note, and he said, the reason I'm racing is because of Ray Everingham. He's the guy that said, don't retire, you could do something here. Tell us the story.
Scott and I got to be friends. We did a couple of television shows together, but around with race cars. You know, I had my vintage cars, my vintage Trans Am car and whatnot, a couple dirt cars, and started. You know, Scott had driven the truck series at Nashville and did really well. He was champion and record holder and whatnot. And he got in the cars and he was very, very impressive. And I said, this guy's got some talent. You know, we need to pursue this thing. And brought Scott here to try road racing. Got him Miata series. Got his license. And Scott is very, very serious about his racing. He's very talented. Obviously, a superstar in the music business. Had he chosen to go racing, I really believe this guy could have been to the top of the professional sport. You know, the effort that he puts in is incredible. He's constantly beating himself up about not being fast enough, and you try and say to him, hey, look at where you're going, how far you've come. He puts a tremendous amount of pressure on it, but Scott Borchetta actually, I'm telling you, has some talent behind the wheel as a race car driver.
I've raced with him in Group 6 and some of the SVRA stuff, and just one of those guys that you're comfortable with racing with.
Wally, I just want you to take a look at this. This is what the incident was, and we should get a better explanation as to what actually happened. And as you, the racer, or both of you guys, tell us what you see when we see this. Bender is in front of Lostowski here, coming into turn 1.
Oh yeah. He just maybe wheel hopped that thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Adrian had no place to go, and you know, but looked like he got a little bit of a wheel hop, and man, if that happens going into turn 1, there's not a whole lot you can do. That's a hard one to get out of.
There's a little bit of a bump there. You know, if you look at it, unsettles the cars, and on some of these guys run softer springs, some of them got the cars pulled down. A lot of your shock, and as Wally said, you know, if you unload those rear tires just for a second, easy to lock them up. But the good news is we saw both of those drivers out of the car, so they're safe. And these Trans Am 2 cars are relatively, I'm going to say, anytime you crash it costs money, but they're relatively inexpensive to fix. You know, they keep a lot of the parts on the shelf, the bodies are fiberglass, so hopefully not a lot of damage to either one of those cars, and as I said, both drivers safe.
Well, I'm going to see if we can dial up Adam Andretti again. Hey Andretti, how you getting on out there? This is Johnny in the booth.
I'm back on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam, we can hear you.
There's someone else on our channel.
Back of the circuit. Yeah, he's at the back of the circuit. I'll leave him to it. We'll get back to him later. But guys, Wally, I want to ask you. I've seen Skeen do that same thing, and I've seen a few drivers get that wheel hop at turn 1 there. Is there any way while driving you can avoid it?
There's one thing that I do to get out of a wheel hop, and that it's not right. Your brain doesn't want to do it, but you hit the gas to get. Whenever I got in a wheel hop, what I do is I would hit the gas to unlock it, to get it forward motion again. Now, when you're sliding and you're aiming for the wall, it's difficult to do, but it does work. If you just tap the throttle and get those rears to unlock, then you can get out of it. That's has worked for me anyway.
Yep. Yeah, like you say, it's completely against the brain.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. And Ray will remember when it happened a lot, and then it's where I figured it out was at Sonoma in the carousel.
Correct.
When you're going down the carousel, and then there's that hill, and guys used to wheel hop in cup cars all the time there, and by accident, I flipped the throttle and got out of it, and I went, oh, okay. And every time, even down in a turn, what is it, 11 or the last one, we used to get a lot of wheel hop. If you just tap the gas, it'll break free again.
Well, a couple things going on there, as we said, a little bump, but you're on the brakes so hard, it's putting a lot of weight on the front tires, taking weight off the rear tires. But as the fuel burns off, this is a 100-mile race, as the fuel burns off, they're going to have to take some bias away from the rear and put it on the front to stop those cars from wheel hopping.
Yeah, you definitely, and I don't know how many guys are doing it, but yes, you do play with the brake bias. Like in a TA car for me going into turn 1, I brake a lot earlier, and I'm actually on the throttle before I even turn in. And a lot of it's got to do what you just pointed out. There's a bump there, and if you get in there and try to charge the corner and hit the brakes, the cars don't like it, so I kind of back my whole deal up and run through there on the gas instead of running in there deep, braking, and then turn.
And that's what I love about the circuits like this. The circuits that have the history, it's got to have a little bit of character.
Yeah.
Who wants a perfectly smooth, bank easy racetrack? It's got to have a little bit of a difficulty
and this
factor.
place does.
Guys, while we've got a little time, let's head down to the pits again. Ben Sissel, what do you got?
Hey, I'm with Billy Harrison, crew chief for Fast Auto with Adrian Lostowski. Billy, what's Adrian telling you? What happened?
He was coming in, the car in front of him locked up the rear end. Such close racing, nowhere to go. We're bringing him back to the hauler. We're going to try to straighten it out for some points.
Nice. Going to try to straighten it out for some points. I'm sure you gentlemen up there in the booth can explain that to everybody.
Yeah, exactly right. The thing about Trans Am is, the big points are at the front, but there's points all the way down the field. So if you can get back out in a 100-mile race, you will score points. Plus, there are points for fastest lap and most laps led. But, that was a fairly straightforward incident. Poor old Adrian had nowhere to go.
No. And again, especially they're doing the right thing if they're going to be running for the championship. It's early in the race, we've still got 30 laps left and lots of miles, and based on the races that we've had here in the past in TA2, there's going to be some other incidents and some cars dropping out, so they'll be able to gain some positions. They fixed that car.
Here's a question for both of you. It's cool out there. The sun is shining, but it is cool, and the wind is probably playing a factor. You talked about tire pressures earlier. We're looking at like when they're racing, getting up to like 180. But how far will they drop, and how can you gauge it? We've got no sensors for it.
Oh, I'll tell you, that's a great question, because the problem that you have right now, you've got a lot of brake heat in the car. So as that brake heat is building the front tires, it doesn't build the rear tires as fast. So what you're trying to do right now is keep your tires clean and keep your foot off that brake if you can, to not create more temperature and put it in the front tires. Normally, once the tires build up, they won't drop pressure as quickly as they will build up. There's an optimum pressure that Pirelli has given these guys to shoot for. So normally they start a little less than that, hit the target pressure, and you want to try and keep that balance for the rest of the race if possible.
Yeah, it's interesting. I asked Scott Goodyear this last week because he was saying weaving is great, but it's not actually the most perfect way to get the heat in the tires. And he said accelerating and braking, but that doesn't work with what you just said, because you don't want to overbrake.
Well, you don't really want to overbrake it. That balance, so weaving is a great way to keep the tires clean, because as Wally will tell you, you'll wreck easier on dirty tires than you will on cold tires. There's a lot of rubber that comes up. We've seen guys using the curb. We've seen cars off the racetrack. So you want to get that off of your tires before you have to head down to turn 1.
If you were someone like Tyler Kicera, who won the last race in 8th position, or Adam, Thomas Merrill, who's been, he was the top finisher here of those that are here this year, last year. But if you're trying to come through when the tire deg is going down and the race is going on, does like many other races, like NASCAR and any other, is there a lot of marbles? Is there a lot of used rubber on the outside? When you're trying to overtake, you got to go offline.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen that though with these new Pirellis. I mean, and Sebring is about as nasty as they get.
Yeah.
You know, but you know the lines were pretty clean, so it wasn't we're used to in the NASCAR races. I mean, you get out of the line and that was it.
Yeah.
You couldn't do anything. So
the marbles, as
I haven't seen too much of it off these Pirellis yet.
How bad's it look, right? Doesn't look good, does it?
No, but it looks fixable as long as they can get the steering wheel pointed in the right direction and get cooling to the radiator so the car doesn't overheat. Brake ducts open so they don't overheat. He should be fine. You know, again, these cars are pretty tough, and those fiberglass bodies, they pull them out, they tape them up. You know, when I wrecked my car here a couple years ago, they taped it up, and you know, I've got that car we call the Ghost, and they put so much white tape on the car I drove for Mike Cope. They said, "Hey, you drive the Ghost yesterday, but today you're driving the Mummy." You know, so they can fix these things up. The guys can do a good job putting them back together.
Guys, Ben is busying himself down in the pit lane. Let's head down to Ben Sissel again and find out what the latest is down there.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. I'm with Adrian Lostowski. Adrian, Ray Evernham wants to know, can you get the steering wheel straight? Can you get back out there?
Yeah, we're trying to get back out there. It seems, I think Danny Bender spun in front of me earlier, and I just had nowhere to go, and I went right into him in turn one there. So just super disappointing because we didn't have a good finish at Charlotte. Now we came down here. We had a lot of pace. We were just cruising there for everything to pan out, and we're going to start picking cars off, and there we go. We had a really fast car today, and here we are. You know, we're just trying to get back out there and get as many points as we can.
That's a heartbroken Adrian Lostowski and his Hawk Performance Ford Mustang. Adrian, I'm sorry about your luck, but we know all about luck in motorsports. Gentlemen, back to you.
Yeah, Ben, that's great stuff, and I feel for Adrian because that's a small team. He's worked very hard. They're staying in a hotel. I think I'll buy him a beer tonight if he does get back out there, but never easy going on board again with Scott Borchetta. I'll tell you what, guys, I've been watching Connor Mosack at the front, and I'll tell you what, 23 years old, you've got Mike Skeen of all people behind you. You're right behind that Honda Civic. And I'd just be a little bit nervous. Scott Borchetta, on the other hand, he's a little further back. He's got Cameron Lawrence in front of him. He's just looking to make some places up.
And we talked about Scott, and you know, right now I think Scott is shooting for another good, solid top 10. But I'm going to tell you, I spoke with Connor Mosack yesterday. He is a very confident young man, knows what he wants to do, knows where he wants to be. You know, I was very impressed with some of these younger drivers that we've talked to, and you know, the young man in fourth, Brent Cruz, one of the youngest drivers, racing one of the oldest cars, but very experienced. And while he told me, and here's a guy that won 5 Powerade midget races last year, said this is the most competitive series he's ever raced in.
And I think he's right. I mean, you look at these guys stacked up, and it's going to be interesting to see if Skeen tries to make a move.
Away we go then, down the main straight. Mike Skeen trying to make some inroads on Connor Mosack, and so too his teammate Rafa Matos, the champion. Behind them, in the 70, is Brent Cruz, the youngster, the youngest competitor out there, but still going very strong and looking for a top 5. Cameron Lawrence, a little further back. We go on board with him now. He's got the 18 in front of him. That's Sammy Smith in his first road race.
He's so bad wanting to get in there on the inside of him. The right thing, because unless you're right next to somebody, it's not going to work out.
Can you make a move on the inside at 7?
That's another one that you've got to be committed.
Right.
You've got to make sure that the guy sees you, because if he turns down in on you, then so you just need to make sure that you can do it.
And Wally, team cars, okay, we're going down a long back straightaway. Can they do what we see in NASCAR? Will the draft work? Can the 2 team cars work together to get by the leader?
I haven't really seen that work a whole lot, Ray. I think if you've got somebody that's giving you a little bit of a push, yes. I don't know if these cars really draft as well as, like the Cup cars and stuff do. But, you've got to get really, really tight behind a guy. And
we got big wings on these cars compared to NASCAR. Yeah. Oh, a little bit of debris there, rolling off there at 10, but back on board with Adam Andretti. He's lost some ground at the restart, has Adam. and he's lost touch with the man in front of him. Round goes Scott Borchetta. And luckily he's kept it going, but he's in a really precarious, that's the exit of 10B, and he wants to get out of there as quickly as he can, and that's, well, it was risky, but that's risky business. Look at this, Skeet's coming alongside, nudges his way through, gets through on the 23-year-old, and that's Mike Skeen using the chrome horn. Nicely done, though. Is that all fair in 11-1?
We didn't see the beginning of it, but I will tell you, it looks like Connor is certainly not going to give up. So we might see a little bit more fiberglass flexing, as they say.
Well, you know Rafa's now, he's going to be wanting to go by. He goes into 7. He'll be looking up the inside here, trying to 8
Yeah, I knew the crossover was coming.
I
knew it was coming.
Yeah. And that's good work by Rafa. And now this team, this three-dimensional services team, can work together. Skeen leading, Rafa Matos, the championship leader, in 2nd place.
And I'm not sure how much working together we're going to have between those two guys.
The funny thing is, Mike Skeen's doing IMSA this year.
Yeah.
So he kind of is just here to win and be done.
It's like a little damage here on, is that Rafa?
Oh, yeah, the door on Rafa's car.
And that happened, I'll guarantee you, when he passed Mosack, I think there may have been contact, because I'll tell you, Rafa used all the road up when he went past Mosack. I bet you there was a little contact there.
Yeah, a little bit of southern air conditioning.
Yeah.
So,
you know, we've been watching as Connor Mosack has come down here, on the right-hander right in front of him. Been watching, his car has stepped out a little bit. I wonder if he's starting to get loose to the right.
And on that restart, Ray, I noticed that as well, and that's where Skeen, we didn't see the pass, but I think Skeen had a jump on him going into turn 1, because you're right, he was a little bit loose down here, and Skeen had a much better launch off this last corner.
Misha Goikerberg now up to 4th position now, and so we've had quite a change around. Mike Skeen now leads, Rafa Matos 2nd, Cruz is up to 3rd, Goikerberg 4th, and Connor Zilic drops back to 5th place, and Connor Mosack down to 6th.
And I think Mosack is back there because of the contact with Rafa on that pass.
26 is Thomas Merrill, an expert here. He was 3rd last year. And like I said, both Frutrell and Sam Mayer, who's gone on to bigger and better, not racing here today. So Merrill looking for another podium as he got last year, as we look high above this Road Atlanta circuit.
And Cameron Lawrence continuing to march forward, cracked the top 10 now.
Yep. Michelle Abate down in 17th. She's chasing Keith Prochup. Sexton, another one of our new boys from Texas. He's in 18th, just ahead of Elias Anderson from Driftwood, Texas. Down to 10A again. That's where the drama's been, and it always is. There's the damage to Zilic's car. I don't think it'll too much to him as long as the balance is okay on the car.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, a little bit of the splitter there probably affect him a little bit, but it may get worse as the tires wear off, because that's when you really start feeling the aero problems with these cars. If you've got some damage, once you start using the tires off, that's where you really feel it.
With Cameron Lawrence winner here, I think in 2015, very wide by the man in front of him, but everybody okay. That was Tyler Kicera in the 77. Let's take a look again, guys, at that lead change. Like you said, we came into it late, but guys, you take it away, see what you see. This is Borchetta going round, in fact.
Yeah,
I think
a little help.
Yeah, he got a little help. Yeah, I set you out wrong there, boys.
That spot over there, I mean, it's a risky place to pass. You've got to make sure you give each other a lot of room there. That's an easy situation to get into. 10B there.
So here's Rafa, 2nd place, but look at the gap that Skeen's already got on him in the last lap or so. In fact, Skeen's setting his fastest lap of the race at 1:24.3. Fastest lap out there, 1:24.3 by Misha Goikerberg. The Russian-Canadian really flying at the moment for BC cars. There he is in the 20, the white and blue. He's got Zilic behind him.
And not uncommon to see these cars get faster and faster. Again, the Pirelli brings a good tire as the fuel burns off and a little bit of rubber gets down on the racetrack, especially on a cool day like today. They'll go faster and faster, and we see somebody right there.
Jim Gallagher,
Jim.
Jim didn't race last weekend. He had a cut to his cornea, so we were pleased to see him back.
we got a
Oh
spinner.
no! Just as I mentioned,
Wow.
Misha Goikberg, he goes round and out.
You
The number
jinxed
20.
him, Jonathan.
Totally
You jinxed him.
commentator jinxed him. My fault. Sorry, Misha. Dash Vidania. Oh well.
And I think that, what was that? Is that 6, I believe?
I think that was 6, yeah.
And that's one of those places, too, where if you're going to make a pass on a guy there, you've got to be under him. You've got to be next to him because it's a very it's a faster than it looks. It's a sweeping right-hander, and it really breaks your momentum if you go through there side by side. So nobody really wants to give that up, and you've got to make sure that the guy knows you're there. I don't know what happened there, but I'm sure it got tight between two cars side by side there.
Cameron Lawrence coming past our commentary position again, past the Michelin building, as we look down on our Pirelli-filled field of ski. Matos, Cruz, Goikberg, sadly going out of 4th. That moves Zilic back up to 5th. Mosack now 6th, stays there. Andretti might start to come forward now. He's 7 seconds off. We're on board with him now. And you can see the guys in front of him. He's going to be hungry for this.
Yeah, you start watching these guys and they're sliding a little bit more and more. Like the car in front of him is loose. I mean, you can tell he's starting to spin his tires, getting off the corners a little bit. So Adam's looking for a spot here to try to capitalize on it.
Wow, that's the Laguna Seca local. Thomas Merrill ahead of him.
Yeah, he's looking, but there's not enough
he might
room
try
there.
a move like Rafa did up the inside. Not quite. He's going to wait till 10, but surely now, Wally, he's lining himself up for a move at 10A.
Yeah, you've got to be close. The thing is, if you're going to make a pass on 10A, you've got to be right on his
Not
tail
close enough, is
and
he?
then pull out and try to outbrake. And I don't think he's close enough right now to do that.
All right, well, we just saw Misha Goikberg, the Canadian, going off. Let's take another look at what happened, and guys, you take it away. Here he comes.
Yeah, it's just like you've got to be further up on the guy if you're going to make that move, and that that's a two. Yeah, if you commit on the inside and it's not going to work, there's nowhere for you to go. You can't get out of the guy's way fast enough. So that's just one of those last second. I think I can make it, and he didn't. He wasn't far enough up on him.
Well, we seem to hear Dollenbachs everywhere. Now we got Archers back in the sport.
Yeah.
I love this sport.
It's
got the right name. You got to keep racing, right?
Well, Dylan's doing a great. I think this is his only 3rd TA2 race, Trans Am race, and I tell you what, he's been very impressive this weekend. He's done a really good job. He's worked. He's got the guys that used to work on my Trans Am cars back in '85 and '86, Jimmy Frazier and those guys. They know how to put a TA2 car together, so he's in good company.
Well, he's in good company then, no question. I first caught sight of him when we were doing the E-Championship, and he wasn't old enough to go Trans Am racing, so he was just trying things on the sim, and now here he is. Back on board with Cameron Lawrence down the back straight towards 10 again.
Up to 7th. He told us he had a good car. He said he just needed to have some, good, clean race, but he's moved all the way up to 7th spot and continues to move forward, laying down good laps.
Of course, this is his first season with the Franklin Road Apparel. Ken Twait's team, they got a win with Paul Menard in TA last weekend at Charlotte.
Whoa, he was loose there. Yep.
Archer looking for a way, and he's going to come alongside. I don't think he's going to do it quite here. They come down the hill together right in front of our position. On board with Lawrence, but he's got a lot of car behind him, breathing down his neck.
And that's what you want. If you're Dylan Archer, if you see the guy in front of you get sideways like that, man, you start standing up on the wheel because it's like, okay, he's having trouble. I think I can make a move here.
And in fact, you're going to force him into more trouble, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Keep the pressure on and see if you can force a mistake.
Well, they're about halfway on fuel and tires right now, Wally. So the chassis changes are starting to come in, and they're leaning on 12 here. They're leaning on that left rear tire pretty hard.
Hey, Ray, you asked the question, you got the answer. There's Adrian Lostowski's back
there
out.
Go.
So I guess he's got the balance. He's not fast. He's just been overtaken by the number 70, but he'll be a long way back, a few laps down now. So he's just cruising to get some points, as you heard. Ooh, another car turn around now at the exit of 8. But out of the racing line, so that shouldn't cause caution, but it may. You never know. In comes the 22.
Oh, look at the hood on that thing. I think if that thing doesn't blow off, he's going to be really lucky.
Well, he's pushing it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, look at it. Well, I hope they've got the duct tape working well. But we are still all green here in a very exciting race. And halfway through, I've forgotten to look at where we were on the timing. It's so exciting.
And you know, back to what Ray's talking about. Yep, now's where the handling really comes into play. I mean, I'm watching these guys coming down the hill, coming through the last corner, and about every other car is sideways or really slipping. So the guys that, you know, have either taken care of their tires or got the setups right and the shocks right, this is where they start moving forward. This is where they start making hay in the race.
Because those guys that are sideways, it wears that tire. It goes exponentially. You know, if you a couple little slips and it turns into, you know, holding your breath every time you're coming down that hill.
Yep.
That's Ty Young in the pits in the 22. They're looking into that. I'm not sure what they're looking exactly for, but either way, it doesn't look good. That's got to be the worst when all the adrenaline's flowing and you're desperate to be out there.
Yeah, it's definitely highs of highs and lows of lows. Stuff like that happens, especially when you've got a good car.
Well, this race is starting to settle down as we go back to Lostowski, who's got back out there, but of course is a lap or two down at the moment. And I think a lot of cars are going to come past, because I can't believe that car in a straight line is going to be fast. In fact, you could see from the timing, 145. Well, he gets up to 150, but we've seen higher top speeds than that, and like you can see the bodywork flapping in front of him. Let's hope it stays all in one piece. But yeah, you can see no hood on it at all. So I don't know if he went out with a hood and has lost it, or
I think his fenders. Then again, these cars are pretty tough. You know, they had a couple good licks there, and he's able to get back out. And the good news, I know he was disappointed getting involved in the wreck and not having a couple things, but he said a key thing: the car spin fast the last couple. Problem with a fast car.
Oh,
you
yes.
have no problem all day long with a slow car.
Yep, amen to that.
Yeah, no kidding. He's getting plenty of coverage for his Hawk performance, though. Doing a great job for him. Have been a sponsor of his for the last few years. As we go back, Tyler Kicera in the 77. There's the Franklin Road apparel car of Cameron Lawrence. We've been focusing on him quite rightly, because he's been trying to make his way through. Lawrence currently in 7th. He's got Adam Andretti in front of him. Behind Lawrence is Dylan Archer, Tyler Kicera 9th, Sammy Smith still in the top 10. That'll be a good result. Evan Slater is where he qualified in 11th place. Brett Barco, winner of the Rookie of the Year last year, is down in 12th.
And again, we've got that young man, Brent Cruz, riding along in 3rd place there, doing very respectable lap times. Looked like Rafa just a little bit better than Mike Skeen that last lap. Oh, we've got another car turned around.
Yep, and that's the 91 of Michael Attaway. And sadly going the wrong way, but getting out of harm's way, more importantly, and that's a good place to stop, because the further you are away from that turn-in, the better. He's going to try to just creep back on. Nicely done. They don't teach you that at race school, how to get back on the track when you're in the middle of a race.
No, they teach you
ought to.
Yeah,
they ought to.
I was going to say, they're telling you not to get off, but you know.
It would be a useful thing. Let's talk about this kid. You spoke to him. I'm amazed. He's so young, but he's done midget racing already in his career, and he looks back at his career and he talks about, you know, like 10 years ago or whatever, because he started when he was like 4 or something.
Well, you know, again, I tell them they're super babies. I call them, you know, they've been racing since they were. My fire suit is older than this kid, you know, but he really well spoken. They're doing the simulators, they're doing the go karts, they're doing the Legends cars, and they're moving up. So when they get here, they get an opportunity. They have a really high racing IQ. Yep. They have a level of experience to know. And again, I think the iRacing, the simulators are really doing a great job with some of these kids.
Rafa slowed completely. He's almost stopped out on the back straight, and Rafa, our championship leader, is out of this race at round 3. Oh, that's coming to a complete stop.
No, if you look, the engine dash there was dead 0 RPM.
Oh, so, this is drama indeed, and that puts Cruz up to 2nd place. Wow, what a change around. This is going to be a very, very big result. Well, he's got it going again, let's hope it's intermittent.
Yeah. But you heard Rafa say when they interviewed him, hey, we can't afford to have mechanical failures.
And he finished every race and every lap last year, and he's the champion.
Wow. We'll see if he stays out there, or it was maybe ignition box thing, or.
Well, if you remember, earlier in the race we saw Doug Peterson, and I said he's a champion in his own right, being overtaken, was going very slow himself. Here with Rafa again. I don't know what you can see, but it's not as fast as I would expect it to be.
No, he's definitely off the pace. But he came by pit entry.
Yep. but he's slow again. It's just like it's maybe like he's lost a gear or something.
Hey, what's he doing?
No, it's something going on electronically there.
Yeah, he's trying to find it too.
Yeah.
Well, this is not good when you're trying to lead a championship. Look, he's got it going again. So there's something intermittent. Yep.
Yeah. Again, you know, in a series in any series, but series this competitive, can't afford mechanical problems, especially when you have a fast car like that.
So this is really throwing the cat amongst the pigeons because Rafa Matos has been so consistent. We saw him last year win the championship with consistency. 4 cars in the three-dimensional services team. There's Mosack, who was leading this race up until a few laps ago. Mosack trying to get back on level terms as we go back on board with Adam Andretti. And what's going on in front of him? Another car wiggling in front of him.
Was that 26 car?
Yeah, I think
Is that Merrill? Well, he was
Thomas
sideways
Merrill.
all the way down this
Yeah, that
hill.
was weird. It looked like he'd got like a crab on. Engine misfiring is what the pits is telling us, but we can see that ourselves. Andretti gets through on Merrill. So Merrill drops to 5th, Andretti up to 4th, and I tell you what, the pin is about to be pulled for Adam Andretti because he can sense a podium here. Got a podium last time out. He's got Mosack in front of him. In 3rd, Cruz is up to 2nd, and Skeen's leading the way. Skeen 9 seconds ahead. Boy, he's gone.
He's gone, and I've been watching him. His car looks like it's on a rail. I mean, that thing is just track.
You know, we were talking last week at the Roval, and guys, you know, as the fuel load goes down, you're losing, what, 100, 150 pounds of fuel,
Yeah,
effectively.
these cars carry 26 gallons, so they, you know, in a 100-mile race, you're going to burn 22, 24. He's green, you know, there hadn't been a lot of caution, so they're burning some good fuel, and that's a huge weight change.
How does that feel?
Well, I'm not sure in a TA2 car, but definitely, you know, like in a TA car, we carry a lot more than that even, and you can feel the weight. You can feel the weight at the start of the race.
Ukraine is out. Gene Segal.
Yep.
Ukrainian. He's got the Ukraine flag on, and Segal Sport, new to the series. Carry on, one.
Yeah, anyway, you can feel the weight, and as it burns off, and it depends on what your percentages go to as well. You want the percentages at their best when the fuel load is lighter. So like in our cars, you can feel the weight more than you can feel anything.
Another car coming into the pits. That's the 61 coming in.
Now, I'm wondering if they don't get the 07 moved, will that cause a full course yellow, which would really close that top 10 up. You know, that first 6 or 8 cars have been all running nose to tail pretty easily, except for Skeen.
It's certainly getting interesting now. Mosack getting big pressure now from Adam Andretti. And Andretti looking to get past.
Yeah, this is where the traffic comes to such a play on a place like Road Atlanta.
Oh, drag race down the back straight, Andretti and Mosack.
So if Adam can stay close enough, he might try to make the here, but it looks like Mosack's got a pretty good
Well, Mosack's about to take Cruz if he's not careful as well. Cruz in second place, but they're side by side coming into 10. Adam waiting to pick up the pieces if it goes wrong. And Mosack has gone wrong, and that's why Andretti's got past him. And that's classic Road Atlanta, isn't it, boys?
Yep, just one little slip up.
And great stuff, veteran, you know, Adam Andretti showing the veteran against those young drivers right there. Okay, you two boys have at it. One of you's going to make a mistake, and I'm going to get that one. Yeah.
And you know, with Mike Skeen doing just a protracted series, this is good news for Adam Andretti for the three-dimensional services team because he's flying the flag for them. Out comes the full Colts yellow.
And we'll see. I'm assuming that's going to be for that number 07 car, which is going to, and it's you know, Mike Skeen is not probably going to be happy about this, but I'm going to tell you, we have had a blanket over from 2nd to 6th there, and that'll bring Dylan Archer, Sammy Smith up. Tyler Kicera will be able to get up closer.
And this is too when you get to the point of the race and you've got to restart. Guys are not going to be so nice to each other on these restarts. The elbows are going to start coming out.
Do you drivers think like that? So you're not going to be. So you may get off a Christmas card list on a late race restart. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's no more friendships out there.
I don't ever remember a race starting with a whole bunch of friendships. So we're looking at Rafa's car. Guys, I'll take you over to your expertise as to what they might be trying to find there, but we know something is misfiring.
Well, that is the LS package in that car. So, each, with between the coils and, there's a lot. The good news is the electronics have gotten better and we do a lot more. The bad news is when something does go wrong, very difficult to find. Could be something as simple as a wire, a ground, or just a plug. Normally these things are pretty bulletproof.
Let's head down to Ben. He's in the pits. What's going on, Ben?
Well, I'm down here in Three Dimensional Services Group. It looks like Rafa's about to go out. I'm going to talk to Tabitha Andretti. Once he goes out, a little bit of a stall. They're having ignition problems. He stalled again, but Tabitha, the 88 car, what's going on out there?
That's what we're trying to figure out. As everyone can see and hear, it is not running right. So we are hoping it'll clean itself up and he can get back out there and hopefully back to the front, but we're just not sure.
Yeah, they're not sure. There's a little bit of a misfire issue. There's something going on. I love the honesty from Tabitha Andretti. Back to you, gentlemen.
Perfect stuff, Ben. Yeah, my star of the show, Tabitha, who, of course, partner to Adam Andretti, but part of the team big time.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to clear up.
No, unfortunately, most of the time that stuff doesn't clear up, especially when it's electrical.
So here's where our incident is. We've got a car stranded here in the bottom left.
That's a bad spot too.
Yeah, you got to move that, and that's why we're under. But we're now in a caution, guys, at a completely different part of the race now. Before, we were all just, jostling for position. Now you're starting to think towards the business end of this race and how you're going to do it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wally, when you're lined up, okay, hey, look, we're inside of 10 laps to go here, so it's time to go. What are you going to do?
And that's the thing. It's what do you have to deal with right now? What are you working with? If you've got a good car, you can't wait for this restart to happen because it's going to be about you've got to take advantage of these restarts and guys. Trying to if you're going to outbrake somebody, you want to try to do it, like I said, going into 6 or 7 on the first lap. Because once this guy starts getting strung out again, it's harder to make those moves. But what you're hoping is, say if you're 4th or 5th and you were strung out a little bit, that the guys in front of you are having a little bit of tire issues, and you want to just take advantage of that. So,
but now if your car is good, you're going, darn it, we didn't need those, because it's allowing those guys, the guys that were having tire issues, their stuff's cooling off.
Right. So that's why I think that Skeen to me right now he's probably got the best tires out on the field right now because he's running his own pace. He hasn't been pressured, and I don't think he's hurt anything. So I think he's going to be really, really hard to beat. But like you were saying, the guys from 2nd to 5th or 6th, where you have a blanket over those guys, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of contact probably.
Well, what do you do? You're on the radio with Brent Cruz. He's run 2nd. So what does he got to do on this start?
I think on the start, I think you almost have to be defensive more than offensive if you're in that position. If you happen to get a really good jump and try to make a move on Mike, do it. But the guys behind you are going to be doing some Hail Marys. So you just got to be careful. You have to look in the mirror because if somebody does make a Hail Mary, you want to make sure that if he's not going to pull it off, you give him enough room to make his mistake. Like going into turn 1. If somebody dives underneath you and he's not all the way beside you, you don't want to drive down over his left front fender. So you just have to be aware of everything that's going on around you because everything's going to happen really quick.
You know what I'm interested to see? We've been talking about our young guns. We've got 7 of them in the top 11, and it's going to be a real case of youth and exuberance versus cool-headed experience. When I say that, Adam Andretti is right behind our youngest competitor, Brent Cruz. Mike Skeen, one of the most experienced drivers out there, if not in America, is leading this race. Connor Mosack is behind Andretti. He's got plenty of experience. He's got wins under his belt. Then comes Merrill and Lawrence, champions and race winners. Behind them, 2 youngsters, Dylan Archer and Sam Smith. Tyler Kicera, already a winner in Trans Am and in his 30s, way more experience than the 2 men in front of him. It's going to be interesting to see how they play.
I think Adam right now is just trying to calculate on how he's going to do this.
Yes.
He's trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to do this? If he watched him right before the yellow came out and you try to find out where your guy that you're chasing, where's his weakness is, and that's where you want to try to capitalize on it when we go back green.
I'd love to talk to him, but I daren't. But I've got a feeling, if I know Adam and how he's run this race so far, I think he's going to make a move on Cruz at a place that he's not expecting, and that might be coming into 8.
Well, the good news is for him, he will line up, not too far behind one of his teammates. And as we said, if he can use that teammate advantage to figure how to get by Cruz. The other thing is, this is shaping up to be what we want of every sporting event, right? Yeah. We're sitting up here going, well, this could happen, that could happen. Yeah. Look, people, we don't know what's going to happen, right?
And I can assure you,
there's a lot of, you've got the experienced guys, you've got the young guys. We're talking about the tires cooling off, the handling. We're inside at 10 to go. Got emotions, and a lot of unknowns. It's going to be exciting. That's the part we do know. It's going to be exciting for the last 10 laps.
Yeah, and I'm sat next to two legends of the sport, and if they don't know what's going to happen next, I feel comfortable.
Well, like we said, even when we don't know, we'll just make up something you believe.
Yeah. Well, we're about to go racing again. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen soon. Mike Skeen will lead the field. Alan Andretti looking for a way past. They've got back markers as well.
Wow.
I
hate to see that because that...
Whoa! No! That was the worst possible scenario.
Oh, wow.
Andretti goes down and out, taking Mosack with him.
And that, I can't help but think that, that start was not a clean start with a lap car.
What I don't, and there was a lap car.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
At least within 10 laps, and I know Trans Am's looking at this. They talked about it in the drivers' meeting by David Hoots, but especially with 10 laps to go, there shouldn't be any lap cars in the mix with the leaders when you're going to race. And I think it was something that was brought up, and they thought it was a good idea. They didn't want to apply it today because we had the meeting today. But it's something that I know David's going to be looking at, and I hope that they apply that because that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And again, it's a shame. Everyone deserves to be out there. Lap cars, people, you want to be out try, but in the mix, as good as that race was, we've lost two good cars there.
Yeah, and that's a shame. And as you said, Adam was on for a podium there. You can see him pull him out around the trucks. He's coming off at about turn 6, and he'll head back to the pits and probably go and hide in his motorhome because that's a really frustrating day. What a shame. What a real shame.
Yeah.
And he takes it down.
Hard hit, too.
Guys, let's take another look at it, and I'll let you explain what happened. Here we go. This is the restart. Watch the yellow second car.
The car that was a lap down, I believe,
right,
was trying to get out of the way of the leaders, but didn't realize he had the leaders on both sides of him. And you got 3 cars in a spot where there's only enough room for 2 cars.
See Adam. There's the lap car. Adam going by, then back down to the inside.
There's just not enough room, is there?
Yeah. And honestly, it started before that because I know when they were coming down the hill onto the bridge where they come into our site, I didn't realize how they'd gotten so far spread apart.
They were.
And I don't believe the lap car kept it closed up as
Brent Cruz was actually doing a good job of defending his own position in second by staying in the middle of the road there and effectively defending from Adam. But Adam had Mosack on his inside, so it was an accident waiting to happen, unfortunately. And that's racing, guys.
But that's what we talked about. On this restarts, as they get closer to the end of the race, you're going to take more risks as a driver because this is your opportunity to make up positions. So you got to go for it.
And we weren't lying. We didn't know what was going to, because we didn't expect that.
How about this for a story? Cameron Lawrence was 16th on the grid. Said to us, I got a good car, but we just didn't qualify well. He's in 4th.
Yeah, Cameron, Cameron's smart. He's driven a really smart race. He's kept his car clean and everything. So, that's very impressive.
And you got Darren Mock in 10th. Now, here's a kid that's only run 5 races. He's got 3 top 10s so far, and here he is sitting in the top 10 right now. Son of Butch Mock, legendary car owner in NASCAR, won the Big Charlotte race, the 600 with Neil Bonnet, and decided, hey, he wanted to bring Darren over here to TA2 and get him some experience. Wants to be a road racer, and as I said, this is his 6th race, and he may be in line for his 4th top 10.
Remember when Butch and Darren were looking at Trans Am? I had him at my man cave in Florida because he wanted to, we talked about it. He said, well, what do you think about Trans Am? I'm like, absolutely. If you want your kid to have a great race, good racing experience and learn a lot, go Trans Am race. And then I'm glad he finally did. And when you talking about those guys up front, you got, again, another guy, Dylan Archer, sitting in 5th. This is his 3rd Trans Am race ever.
Well, as you can see, Adam has been cursed, but we are bewitched because we got Tabitha. He's down. She's down with Ben. Let's head down there to Ben.
Andretti, Tabitha, have you heard from the driver? What happened there?
Yes, I've talked to Adam. Adam is doing just fine. It looks like we had what was supposed to be a great restart, and Connor just pit maneuvered him right into the wall. So it happens. It's racing, but man, that really screws us for the rest of the season.
That's Tabitha Andretti talking to Adam Andretti as the cars are coming down pit lane so they can clean up the damage that I see out there on the main straight. They'll come through pit lane, under the lights, following the pace cars through, and back out on the track. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. Pit maneuver. That's a new one on me.
Call it like it is. I like that a lot.
She does.
Yeah.
I love going down to her. She's been, last year at Nashville, she was brilliant. And every time we go to her, she is straight on, but that's a pit maneuver right there.
I don't know. Again, each one of those drivers is going to have.
Absolutely.
That's.
But watch Ben Cruz here. Look, he's getting into the middle of the road. Adam's got nowhere to go.
Yeah. Cruz drove a long way across the track, but as you said, you're trying to defend, and that's fair. You know, you can do that.
I don't think David Hoots will have any problem with the youngster, but like you say, is it more to do with traffic than you know?
And you know how I understand it is you get one move,
right?
You know, so if you're doing that move all the way across the track, it's legal. You just can't come back,
right?
You know, so.
And I'm sure, then you're thinking you're 2 wide. I'm not sure he knew that they were 3 wide.
No, exactly. No.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be green next time by. I want a prediction if you can. Mike Skeen, Brent Cruz, Thomas Merrill. Then Cameron Lawrence, Dylan Archer, Sam Smith. That's your top 6. It's a real group.
There's no way I'm making a prediction.
I know. Call that one. Wally, what do you reckon?
I'm with Ray on this one. I mean, I think Mike is in the best spot right now. The guy is so savvy. He's so good in these cars. Unless he makes a huge mistake, I can't see anybody getting around him. But I think 2nd through 4th or 5th is up for grabs.
Yeah. Well, obviously Mike Skeen trying to save the blushes of the three-dimensional services team, who are usually so good at these sorts of races, but it's been a disastrous weekend, as Tabitha just told us, and it could really affect the championship for Adam. I think it's too early for that, because I think there's going to be so much of this throughout the season. We're going to have big fields. We're heading to Laguna Seca next, then to Sonoma, and I really do think we're going to have these sorts of races week in, week out.
Well, and you've got some of his major challengers. Rafa's had problems.
Yep.
Connor Mosack, there's problems. So there's some of the actual challengers today as well.
Let's head down to Ben again. He's in the pit lane. We got one more lap under safety.
Well, gentlemen, you can see as the cars come by on pace lap, we saw, Tony, the cameraman, and I saw when they came by through pit lane, a lot of grass on the front end of the cars. Jeff Sexton has a lot of grass on the front of his car, and I don't know with the cold daylight today if that will affect the cooling or not. Ray Evernham, I'm going to have to ask that question to you.
Absolutely could affect the cooling, no, without a doubt, depending on how much is on there, and that looks like a ton. So that cool or not, if it's not getting any air, it's going to get over hot. So it's going to be, he's going to like it. It's going to be fast.
It's going to be
fast.
More downforce, more speed, but that water temperature gauge is probably going to go up in a hurry.
We had a TA race at Mid-Ohio a couple of years ago. Ernie Francis was involved, and he got a lot of grass involved. He had to come in, pull it all out, and go back out. There was nothing wrong with the car except the dirt, and gravel, and dust. And it was overheating. So, these cars can get hot real quick.
And these cars are like, they're like snowplows. I mean, with the litter and stuff, everything, when there's debris on the racetrack, it just picks it up and sticks it right on in front of the, the opening.
Could he, Wally, get up behind somebody, and will the grass fall off of these cars?
I don't think so.
Because the screen's not flush, probably not.
Right. Gotcha. I don't think so. Like they do in Cup and stuff like that, I don't think you can clean them off enough if you get right behind somebody.
Jeff Sexton definitely won. The Texan from Austin is one of those cars. He's a new guide to the series. He's got a lot of grass on that radiator. As we go behind, Mike Skeen sounding and looking pretty good. And like you say, he's got to be the odds-on favorite. He's got the most experience. He loves this place. He's always good around Road Atlanta, and he leads this race with a really young gun behind him. There's Connor Mosack, sadly, out of this race.
Yeah, the biggest thing, you know, like a guy like Mike or whatever, at this point, you don't want to make mistakes. I know we don't have many laps to go, but this is a time where you've got to be perfect on your restart, and every single lap now you cannot make a mistake, because that's what the guys behind you is going to take advantage of if you do.
And we're looking at probably the most, you know, he's got Thomas Merrill and Cameron Lawrence right behind him. Both those guys really good.
Looks as though the safety car is coming off, and we are going to go racing again. We're on board with third place Cameron Lawrence.
Much cleaner start, much cleaner start.
Here we go.
Yeah, Cameron's underneath him. He might be able to pull this off going into turn one.
Into turn one they go. Skeen leads from Cruz. We are green. Up the inside goes Lawrence. Merrill. Interesting restart, but Cruz has done well, the youngster. Lawrence looking for his way past. Would you argue, Wally, this is the lap you got to do it if you're gonna?
I think so. I mean, this is your best opportunity. This is the closest everybody was on the restart, so you're going to try to capitalize on it. Now's the time.
Yeah, Thomas Merrill's car looking a little bit loose to the right-handers there. That could be certainly something that Cameron Lawrence is seeing as well.
All right, heading up towards a very important part of the track, 7 and 8, and an opportunity for perhaps a move. Tyler Kicera there with Evan Slater looking for the move.
Breaking move. Wow, that was nicely done though. But both cars were aware of, you know, where each other was, and that's how you can pull something off like that, or attempt to. A lot of awareness with those two drivers.
This is great. The drag race, we're on board with Evan Slater, but you can see the drag race on the left-hand side, Tyler Kicera, and well, if he stays there, he should get the breaking point, and he does.
Yeah, Slater.
Whoa, but it's it's close.
That is real. That's really a nice job by both those drivers. Go through there that clean.
Really impressive indeed.
Yeah.
As we go back on board with Cameron Lawrence down the front straight again. Lap 35 of 40. Dylan Archer was the man making that move on Tyler Kicera and holding him off. Really good stuff.
That was a nice pass right there.
That's Zilic. Zilic, who had been up to third place, but struggling now down in 11th. He's got Mock in front of him, but I think he's just disposed with him. And Evan Slater back on board with him at 97, 104 miles an hour down the hill. Dust flying up. Kicera still looking racy in the Liqui Moly 77. Last week's winner. Slater right behind him. "35 laps gone. This is lap 36. Well, we know what happened to our champion. He is down and out, and he's with Ben.
Hey, I'm with Rafa Matos here in pit lane as they pull away Doug Peterson's car. Not the day that you wanted, but Three Dimensional still having a good day here at Road Atlanta, Rafa. What did you see from your vantage point?
Yeah, very unfortunate that we're running second place. Fairly easy with a good pace, you know, right behind Mike in a perfect position for the championship. Apparently there's a problem with the engine. We're not sure what it is, but just a big blow for our championship. Hopefully we'll recover in Laguna.
Thank you. That's Rafa Matos. Back to you, gentlemen.
Good stuff, Ben. Yeah, Rafa won his first ever Trans Am TA2 race here at Road Atlanta back in 2018. Went on to win the championship and, of course, won last year's championship in 2021. So Rafa out, but this has been a dramatic TA2 race. And I'm joined by Ray Everingham and Wally Gollenbach Jr. And we've been very interested in watching all of this, guys. We're running out of time as we go back on board with Scott Borchetta. Is it going to stay as is, or are we going to get one more twist?
Well, they've gotten just a little bit spread out, but if you look again at the top 3 times, and you're all the way back to 4th, again, it's thrown a blanket over them. So, you know, if it stays green, it's likely to finish like it is. But you've got, you know, there's a lot of racing going on behind, so it may be another caution here.
And again, it comes down to just mistakes. If all these top 4 or 5 guys just keep running their pace and not making mistakes, it's probably going to stay as it is. But if one guy makes a little mistake, it's all open.
This is the battle
right now of staying clean.
Yeah, this is the battle for 11th and 12th. We're on board with Scott Borchetta, and just ahead of him, Elias Anderson of Texas.
And Scott's back up to 12th. Wasn't he in the wrong direction?
Yeah, a minute ago, yeah.
So he's done a really nice job coming back through the field.
And look at Kicera getting very racy indeed. This is a great battle. Evan Slater trying to defend. This is really good stuff. Slater in 7th, Kicera.
Oh, man, that's sideways.
Right there with him. And here comes Zilic. Nicely done by the 57 of Connor Zilic, getting past.
He's done that to a couple of guys. He's got that turn 1 pass down.
Yep. So back up the hill they go. Go the leaders. Here's your second place man. What a story this will be if, well, this is a good story too, but it will be a great story for Brent Cruz if he stays in second. But this battle too is for points. There's the man I was talking about, Brent Cruz. He's got Merrill right there with him, and all the experience of Thomas Merrill from Laguna Seca, California is going to come into play now, because he knows he's got the youngest competitor out there, hasn't got the experience of a Merrill, and in the closing stages, surely experience will show.
And I'm going to tell you that Brent Cruz is a name that we are going to be hearing quite a bit about in the future as time goes on. As young as he is, as much as he's done, surely, you know, it's not experience, it's not education, you know, in racing, it's pure talent. To be that young, to drive, you know, he's won in dirt midgets, he's won in paved cars, now late models, and now to be running second to Mike Skeen here, pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Really impressive. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. And again, Slater still going at it with Zilic. Zilic again makes that move. He loves that inside move.
Yeah, and you know, and why he's able to make that move, he's getting through the last corner better than a lot of these guys. He's getting a really nice run off the last corner. And these two guys are driving really hard right now.
This is good. This is impressive stuff. I asked some of the young guns if they'd raced each other. Not many had, because some of them had done karting, some of them haven't. Sam Smith hasn't done karting on his way to coming to Trans Am. Zilic is a world champion karter. And Evan Slater, well, we talked about him already.
Oh, but he's
got the pedigree.
He's going to look at it. He's going to look at it? Nope. Thought maybe right at the last second he would try to dive underneath him.
And don't think for 1 minute, not just you two, but NASCAR is watching as these youngsters, and if there's some guys and some talent out there, they're already starting to get watched in this race. 1 lap to go after this, and Mike Skeen with a 2.2 second lead over the youngster Cruz.
This is going to be good now. Yep, he's going to try it.
Here we go.
Zilic is going down underneath him. That's just textbook. Outbreaking. I mean, that's the way you do it.
Nicely done there by Zilic. And that's textbook, as you quite rightly point out, Ray. This is the final lap. TA2, round 3 from Road Atlanta. Ray Evering, Wally Dollenbach Jr. enjoying every moment of this. Wally will be in action tomorrow. Whoa, getting a little bit out of shape now, guys, in the closing stages.
You're driving harder right now than you have all race. I mean, this is it. And whatever you have left, you just got to drive the wheels off at this last lap. And you can see that's what these guys are doing.
Now, here's your leader. And there's damage to that car as well. Excuse me, that's 87. That's in fact, here's Mike Skeen. We're on board with him. And he's got the 07 to get by, so that's a little bit of traffic he doesn't need. Gene Segal, he wants to get past. Segal was in the dirt a few moments ago, but he gets past him easily. And remember the gap, 2.9 seconds to Brent Cruz, but he won't lose any time there, Skeen. And this is it, coming down the hill. And if he gets all this right, which you'd expect him to do, it should be game over.
That is Skeen with a little bit of fiberglass, a little bit of fiberglass flap in there.
Yep.
That just, you know, from the old rubbing his racing. These guys have been rubbing pretty hard today.
So then, Mike Skeen, only doing a partial season, but here at Road Atlanta, he's been unstoppable. And Skeen will take the checkered flag and win here at Road Atlanta. But more importantly, how about this? Brent Cruz takes second place in the number 70 Nitro Motorsports car. And that was excellent driving by Brent Cruz. And that is the story that will be the headline. It's always a big day when Mike Skeen wins a race. But to have such a youngster in Brent Cruz behind him, Connor Mosack, most importantly, is out of this race, and Thomas Merrill will take 3rd place as he did last year. Lawrence will take 4th. Sammy Smith in his first ever road race in Trans Am takes 5th place. Zilic finishes 6th. He beat Evan Slater in that battle we were watching. Tyler Kicera, winner last week, top 10 this week, he goes 8th. Rhett Barker in the Challenger finishes 9th, and Elias Anderson, in my memory, that's one of the best finishers for the Texan from Driftwood in Texas, in 10th place. Misha Goikhberg in 11th. Wow. Well, plenty to talk about there, guys.
Fantastic race.
Good racing.
Again, these TA cars have put on another amazing event. Close, great side-by-side racing. We saw youngsters, we saw veterans. I think we've gonna hear a little bit of controversy with some guys. There'll be some of that Christmas card list that Wally spoke about. I think some people will be crossed off.
I was never on any of those lists anyway, Ray. So.
Did your wife ever ask you why you had so few cards?
Watching the monitor there, I believe we might have had some contact on the last lap involving Darren Mock and Scott Porchetta and some others. So we'll see. But as you said, John, unbelievable. Mike Skeen, fantastic job. But this Brent Cruz, I can see now why guys like Justin Marks looked at sponsoring him. Kevin Harvick has been coaching him along. What an amazing drive with relatively no road racing experience other than go-karts.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, it really is. To jump in one of these cars with this deep a talent in the field and do this well, it's impressive.
Well, you have to draw a breath there. Mike Skeen, the tall, red-headed figure, will jump out in a moment and talk to Ben, I'm sure, before the podium. But very, very impressive, and you've got to take your hat off. It's all about staying out of trouble, and Skeen did that today.
Mike is certainly one of the best in the business. As I said, he's not just a great driver; he is a great instructor, and I think that makes him so precise, because he's thinking about teaching you. He's becoming a better driver himself, and he does a fantastic job. Whenever I want to find out how fast one of my cars go, I ask Mike to give me a data lap.
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, like we were talking earlier, Ray, Mike he's got a knack for these cars, and it doesn't matter what team he drives for in a TA2 car. He's always up front.
So Mike Skeen out of the car, and he's down there with Ben Sissel. Let's head down to Ben as he talks to our winner here at Road Atlanta.
Wow, thank you, gentlemen. Mike Skeen. Unbelievable. You just kind of come in and out of the series when you want. I know you're really good here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. What a race. Tell us about it.
Thanks. Yeah, just an awesome car from Peterson Racing. So happy to be a part of this program, get my first win with those guys. They just gave me a great car. We were really consistent on the long run, had great pace. At the first stint there following Connor, the 28, I didn't know if we had enough for him, but on that first restart, he made a little mistake, and we were able to get by him, and it was kind of smooth sailing from there. I think he kind of got attacked from other guys and took the pressure off of me a lot. So when we were out at that 10-second lead, I didn't want to yellow, but we were able to survive those restarts and bring it home.
Nice. Congratulations, Mike Skeen, unbelievable. I'm going to come over and talk to Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz, unbelievable. We talked to him early on. We'll come around here. Brent, in the Young Guns, you've been with us this whole time this season. Unbelievable show with your Nitro Motorsports car. How does it feel?
Feels really good. We've had a rough couple of last races. We've had amazing speed every time, and we've just had some unfortunate luck and some contact. But this race, we were able to get a solid P2 finish for this team that works so hard, and I'm just so grateful for everyone.
Nice. And Brent Cruz did that. We'll come around here and talk to Merrill. Here's a Merrill. In the youngest in the field, and the oldest Mike Cope car, Brent Cruz. Now, Thomas Merrill, you were kind of started back there, and you were disappointed with your positioning, but then you just made it up. Seemed like lap after lap you were there. How's it feel?
Well, I thought you were going to say from the oldest driver to the youngest driver to the oldest driver. So I appreciate you didn't say that. No, we were struggling with our pace all week long, but we knew we had a good race car. So we knew if we just kept our nose clean, we'd be there at the end. And we had some good pace. I gave Brent a run for his money there on the last lap, but he defended really well. So full credit to him. And big congrats to Mike. He's the man here. So no one could touch him all day.
Nice. Thomas Merrill. Well, there's our top 3, gentlemen. Back to you guys up in the booth.
Well, really interesting because Brent Cruz started the day down in 20th position in TA2. Overall, that's going to move him right up the board. And, of course, he is also in our Peter Gregg Foundation Young Gun standings. He started 8th today. He will move up the board. Let's take a look at the highlights then from TA2, and boy, was there some. We got away with a full field of over 40 cars. Jostling for position, Connor Mosack, the pole man, Adrian Lostowski, and Bender. Bending each of those cars, but then a little bit of pushing and rubbing counts as Skeen, Mosack, and Rafa got together. Sadly, Rafa had an intermittent problem which became terminal in the end. Brent Cruz, though, in the 70 was flying. Mosack getting into trouble with this man, Andretti, Adam Andretti, at the restart, and both of them go out, and that led to a really grandstand finish. Mike Skeen, though, no problems for him for three-dimensional services. He takes the win. Well, so much drama. Let's take a look at the results then. Confirmation, Mike Skeen in the three-dimensional services group TA2 car wins over the Mustang of Nitro Motorsports Brent Cruz. Likewise, Thomas Merrill in a Cope race car takes 3rd. Lawrence is 4th, then it's Sammy Smith, his first road race. Magnificent. Zilic is 6th. Slater, Kicera, Barco, and Elias Anderson in the ASIO data. Then further down, Misha Goikberg, Prochuk, Lustig, Sexton, Bowes, Sheehan, Morris Hull, Archer, Sanders, and Scott Borchetta rounding out the top 20. Not bad for a guy who'd already been off track. Mark Austin takes 21st place, then Darren Mock, Winston, Sabato, Raymond, Danny Lowry, Michelle Abati did come into the pits and did not finish. He was a lap down. Attaway Gray and Doug Peterson all finishing the race without completing all the laps. Then further down, also out young, Andretti, Mosack, Matos, Segal, Pierce, Gray, Lostowski, Gallagher, and Paul. And Evan Picor was out early, likewise Danny Bender in that incident with Lostowski. Well, we always have our moment, our chill out, cool move moment of the day, and I think it's well deserved. The chill out, keep cool move of the race today goes to Sammy Smith, his first road race, and he was on fire throughout all the race. Really impressive to finish the way he did, to drive with the cool calmness he did, and he deserves the Chill Out Systems Chill Out Keep Cool move of the race.
This is round 3, right?
Yeah. Mike Skeen trying to listen in on what he's got to say to some of the youngsters. But a good race for Mike Skeen, and as you say, he's your benchmark,
yeah,
right?
Again, just a great guy. But, what a great event overall, to come in for entertaining race for over perfect time in, hour or so, number of laps. What a great entertaining race, because so many equally matched cars, but yet different levels of driving experience, skill, age. The hardest thing for me to do sitting here with you guys was pay attention to one thing. There was so much going on that you just can't see all of it. So I've had a fantastic time and appreciate being invited, but what a great event.
And Wally, I know you're racing tomorrow, but boy, is Trans Am alive and kicking.
I love it. I mean, Trans Am, put me on the map. And I just feel like I'm back home and so fortunate I can be back in the TA series and do whatever I can to help promote the series back to where it was at one time. And I'll tell you what, it's headed that way. Like Ray said, I mean, the racing doesn't get any better. We've got 40 cars in TA2 today. It's exciting to see the road racing start coming back to where it was when it once was back in the 80s and where it was so popular. So, I'm very happy to be a part of it.
All right, America's best road racing series, and my thanks. I'm honored to have my two guests today. Let's head down to the podium now.
In pieces before and looked after us, and special thanks to my sponsor, Waukegan Farms, Miss Laura Hull, whose horse came in pretty close to smoking them yesterday. So thank you guys.
Nice, I love it. Hold on, Maurice, we got to get photos, right? Got to hold that thing up. Maurice Hall, ladies and gentlemen, first in Masters at Road Atlanta. Silver Hair Racing, Waukegan Farms. It's been a good weekend for you guys. Let's hear it one more time. Maurice Hall, ladies and gentlemen, Masters at Road Atlanta.
Thanks, Maurice.
You got it. That's yours. All right, now I need you guys to get a lot louder than this. This is Atlanta, by the way. In third place, in the number 26, let's hear it for Thomas Merrill. In second place, the youngest driver in the field, give it up for Brent Cruz. And at number 70, Nitro Motorsports. Brent Cruz has some fans. And then coming back, always really good here with Three Dimensional Services Group, the number 89, Mike Skeen, ladies and gentlemen, a TA2 champion. Now, Thomas Merrill, I'm going to come talk to you. That was a great race. You kind of started more back than I'm used to for Thomas Merrill. Are you feeling pretty good about a third?
I am, yeah, we'll take it today. We struggled for pace early in the week, but my team put together a great race car, so we knew we could be there at the end of the race, and we just needed to stay out of trouble. And that was the name of the game in this race. It was all trouble everywhere, so I just found a hole, stayed out of it, and we ended up good.
Nice. Thomas Merrill, way to go. Brent Cruz, man, that was so impressive. I was listening to the commentators, and they were saying the same thing I was thinking. We're going to be seeing this guy racing on Sunday here pretty soon. Brent, how's it feel?
It feels really good for this team. We had some unfortunate luck these past two races, and we've had amazing speed, and I'm just glad to bring it in a piece and on the podium, and I just want to thank everyone a part of this crew for everything they've done. They just worked so hard.
Now, I came by late last night. They were all under the car doing some welding. What was that all about?
Well, I went my fast lap, and they told me over the radio P5, and I was like half a tenth off of Rafa, and I just wanted to get a little bit more pace in it, and we hit a curb and did some damage. But we obviously fixed it, and we had a really fast race car. All glory to God, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on the race car.
Nice. Brent Cruz, let's hear it for him. And then Skeen, man, I think in our commentators meeting yesterday, they were like, who are we watching out for? And I gave a good list of everybody. I was like, I'm really watching out for Skeen. You seem to just have this track dialed in.
Yeah, it's been a great track to me over the years. Lots of great runs, and just love hustling one of these TA2 cars around here, sliding it all around. It's a lot of high commitment, with the elevation and the fast corners, but it's a great time. Peterson gave me an awesome car with three-dimensional services this week, and just happy to bring it home for those guys on the podium today.
Nice. Mike Skeen. All right, get loud and proud. Thomas Merrill, Brent Cruz, Mike Skeen. That's quite a podium right here. As Eric comes up, gives the hats. Atlanta, did you guys like that race? You guys saw quite a TA2 race. Unbelievable. I think we're going to be talking about this for years to come. Hold them up, gentlemen. Thomas Merrill, Brent Cruz, Mike Skeen. That was a lot of fun to watch. You guys got to get louder than that. Come on now. There we go. That dude right there, that guy can get loud. That's awesome. Oh, they're coming up for champagne. I don't know what we need to do here, John Claggett, about Mr. Cruz here. You can spray it. You can look at it, he says. You might be able to smell it, but you can't drink it. Come on, get loud, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there's some hazing and some initiation happening right there. Wow, Mr. Cruz, welcome to TA2 and the podium. Oh, and he gives one out for the homies right there. I don't even think he's old enough to know what that means. Okay, I will take this now. Okay, thank you very much. No, you can't. No, I can't. I can't do that. I'm too old for that. Hey, Brent, throw this out to your fans out there. There we go. Ooh, oh, look at that. He caught it. That's a good arm, too. I've got to introduce this next person because this is absolutely amazing. I've been hearing a little bit about him from Scott Lagasse. He was texting me about him a few weeks ago. But Sammy Smith, this was his first road race ever. That's unbelievable. Where did he finish? We believe right now this is not this is provisional, but we feel like he finished 5th or 6th place. But our chill out move of the race, let's hear it. Sammy Smith, first road race ever to finish well in the top 10. Unbelievable. Sammy, come up here. Wow, he finished in front of the mayhem, is what John says. Sammy, how's it feel? And welcome to road racing.
Yeah, you know, it feels good. I felt like we had a really good car today. Just made a mistake there with a couple laps ago. Ran myself off track, and felt like that cost us some time. But overall, a good day. Learned a lot, and hopefully to come back at Road America better.
Nice. I love Road Atlanta.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Nice. All right, hold that up. Sammy Smith, ladies and gentlemen, Team SLR, up there holding that Happy Gilmore check, $250. Get yourself a cool suit. You might not need it today, but you're going to need it further on in the season. Sammy, it's great to meet you. Welcome to the series. We hope to see you back many, many times. And then you can see my Omologato watch right here. I love it. But our Omologato Young Guns fastest lap of the race, 2 times in a row. His wrists are going to start to get heavy. Silver Hair Racing, let's hear it. Connor Zilich. Beautiful watches there from one of our marketing partners. Eric is modeling it. You got to do like the Price is Right thing, you know, and like, there we go. Look at that. Connor, step up on the top step. Connor, we've been so impressed with your road racing skills. Tell us about your race out there.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate day. I mean, we did the best that we could. I made some mistakes on my end that kept us back from being on the podium.
Wait, hold on. Pause for some beautiful music.
I made some mistakes that kept us off the podium, but I know we have the speed. I mean, this is our second one in a row, so we just got to keep putting our heads down, and eventually a good result will come, and I just need to stop making as many mistakes.
Nice. Well, Connor, hold that watch up. Let's hear Connor Zilich. Nice job. Our fastest of the Young Guns. Connor, congratulations. I don't know if you guys have noticed this about the Young Guns, but man, they seem eye of the tiger, very determined. This is going to be an unbelievable season, but that does it for TA2 here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. We will see all of you tomorrow, same time, same place, all right? Everybody come back tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Great stuff, Ben Sissel. And as we look high above the famous Road Atlanta circuit, what a race we have witnessed. We know the names of Thomas Merrill and Mike Skeen, but I think you better start remembering Brent Cruz. He's one of the youngest National Midget Series race winners, and now in Trans Am on the podium. What a day for that young man, and I think he'll be up there with the likes of Skeen and Merrill for a long, long time to come. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage. Stay with us. More to come from Atlanta as the weekend unfolds. From me, Jonathan Green, my thanks once again to Wally Dollenbach Jr. and Ray Everingham. We'll be back soon with more great action from Road Atlanta and the Speed Tour.
Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than 3-Dimensional Services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust 3-Dimensional Services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. 3-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven. If your tooling isn't quite ready, and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to The experts in low volume production, three-dimensional services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. Three-dimensional services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
Menards is the Midwest's ultimate home improvement store. Family owned since 1958, Menards is the one-stop shop where you always save big money. Get the Midwest's best selection nationwide when you shop online at menards.com. We make it easy to complete your projects around the house, big or small. From hardware to plumbing or paint to appliances, we carry it all. Visit menards.com today to save big money at Menards.